Zeus.
Here.
Okay, good.
Hi, everyone.
Mike,
Hello.
Eric, and Donna Rose.
Oh, smell that wonderful rose perfume? That's Donna.
That's Donna. A rose among the thorns there in the chat room.
Oh, there's Eric from Norway, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they don't say ja. Did they say ja in Norwegian? That's German.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nick says yeah.
Ja.
We have RJ with us again today, as you can see, which is great.
Hello.
Sorry.
Very
We
happy.
just,
Ludger.
apologies.
Speaking of
Apologies
Germany,
ahead of
there's
time.
Ludger.
Yeah, that's right. Bottom of the barrel.
Eric
yeah.
says he does. They do say yeah.
Oh, they do say ja.
Yeah. So you were right. Ding, Jeff. Ding.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah and,
Yay.
and nay.
There
Yeah.
you
Nay.
go.
Is that how you say it, Eric? Nay?
Nay? Nay? Nay?
Nay.
No, horses go neigh.
Nay. Bit of GH on there,
Stop horsing around, Nick.
right?
So, guys, Steffi's off to run another one of her amazing races this weekend. So she's on her way there. I think she's leaving right after work today to go to Chicago for the
Chicago.
marathon,
Chicago,
which is one of her many
Chicago,
hometowns.
that wonderful town.
Yeah, Ludger, yeah, and 9. Yeah, we know that.
9.
9.
Ah, it's 2:30. 2:30. 2. Okay. Let me open some windows here. I have my air conditioning off, which should be okay because the ambient temperature here is, what did we say, 21, 22, 23-ish, something like that.
Is there a breeze? Do you know if there's a breeze, Louise?
I don't see much of a breeze, actually. All the leaves are still. I see an American flag over there.
Brown and the sky is gray. No, it's not, though.
And the sky is gray. You're welcome, everybody.
Jeff usually charges for singing.
Oh, wait. California dreaming. RJ's not dreaming of California. He's in California.
I
He's
am in
there.
California. That's right.
He's our California dream. There he is.
You know, nightmares are technically considered dreams too.
Okay, that window's open. That window's open. Let me open this one back here. I'm way back here. This is such a huge space.
I know. We can hardly hear you. You're way far away.
Okay.
His palatial. Oh, we've lost Nick. Where did he
Oh,
go?
dear. Oh, I need to get some refreshment.
Yeah, do that.
He's back.
I'm back.
He's back.
Swipe. Sideways swipe.
No, he just.
Okay, don't tell anybody. This is illegal here.
What is that? Is that a highlight? No.
This is their new packaging, which
Oh,
I think is pretty clever. I think that
very
before it was-
large print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For blind pilots.
Yeah. When they get blind drunk, you mean? Ha, ha. I know you love your highlight.
Yep. I do love my
No.
highlight.
Isn't it brewed in Florida somewhere?
Yeah, Tampa.
I hope it hasn't been. I hope it hasn't been damaged.
Oh my goodness! I hope they didn't
Oh
get too
my
much damage.
God.
Ybor City, which is right in Tampa.
Oh, you better go and stock up immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, too
Well,
late.
not immediately. After the show would do. Fine.
Yeah.
It's
So
all
I could just
floated
turn
out of the
around.
brewery.
Yeah. You can be driving.
Go right
yeah.
here. This is a seat right here. I could just do the show and drive and just turn around every.
Every now and then.
that's
I'm sure
everybody.
we'll do that sometime. Yeah.
I'm sure that I'm going to forget one of these days that I have all my antennas up,
Right.
and I'm going to be driving along going, "Kung, kung, kung." What the hell was that? Oh yeah,
Don't say it.
Starlink antenna. I needed a new one. I've already
Talking
oh,
of
never mind.
drinking,
Yeah.
it's very nice that JD has got a T-shirt with pints written on the front. That's great.
Who?
RJ? RJ, you mean?
RJ, sorry.
Now you're now JD.
Just think of the planes, Nick. RJ's.
RJ.
Regional
yeah,
jet.
okay. Yeah, good point. JD's a good one, though. I like
I like JD. I think you should consider changing your name to JD.
JD from was he from Dallas? Wasn't he? Was that JD? JR. He was JR.
Yeah, JR. Yeah, the opposite of
Yes.
RJ.
Yeah, RJ. Yes, that's
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Peter, hi Peter, in the chat room says, Jeff, sticky note on the windshield.
Lower the antennas. It's more than just lowering them. It's like taking them down. I wish that I had that'd be nice, just to like hit a little button.
An automated thing?
No, up. I guess I could eventually do something like that, but.
Okay, have you got your recorder on, Jeff? Got your recorder on?
She wants us to get going here. Okay. No more
slow
chit chat,
down,
Liz
I
is
haven't got a
saying.
number yet.
Huh? Oh, okay.
I haven't got
So
a number.
we'll continue to
he's
vamp
still- he's
while
still
he gets his
researching. All right, that's fine.
634.
I could do an RJ crash. Kill
This kind of
75
RJ?
people.
Oh no,
killed
RJ.
Yeah.
Neil Landwarn,
And I'm still
hello.
here.
Well, that's why the Delta jets are like trying to take off all the RJ tails.
Tails, that's how you get
Ah,
rid of
Because-
it.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to make it
They're
safer
dangerous.
for everybody.
Dangerous
Very
aircraft.
dangerous.
Docking their tails, just like they do on some dogs. Like
So let's see. So I was just going to quickly say that I think I mentioned it in the last show, but I'll mention it again. I'm trying new routers and expensive antennas, for 5G cellular. Well, actually, not 5G. This is 4G, but it's like anyway. You don't want to know all the details, but
No.
I've been spending a lot of money on trying to come up with more consistent bandwidth for the show.
last show was great, and this show's looking
Yeah.
good. So
Yeah, and the reason for that is it's Starlink.
Is on that.
Starlink is doing the trick, and I switched to the residential plan, even though I'm really an RV roam plan kind of person. But since I don't need to use it on the move, only when I'm stationary, so I don't really need that capability, and I don't need the capability of turning it on and turning it off as far as the subscription is concerned every month, because pretty much this is it. I mean, I'm always in my RV, so it's like my residence. And then I can just change pretty easy, actually, to change my
and
location.
isn't the residential thing less expensive, Jeff? Too?
Yeah, and it's less expensive, and you get higher priority. So that's
It's
what
all
I
good.
changed.
It's win-win-win. Win.
Yeah. So
Cool.
win. But the bad thing, I thought I had those turned off. Darn it. The bad thing is,
Why does there have
Sorry.
to be a bad thing? Why?
because Starlink, the general problem with Starlink is their reactions are off. That the you have to be in a pretty good clear
Right.
space
Yep.
of sky above you for it to
You
get
get
a
a clear
good
shot
signal.
at the
Yeah.
satellites.
And so the previous site that I was in this campground was like amazing, just beautiful, perfect. And then I just moved a couple hours ago over here to this spot, which I've been in before. And again, it has a pretty decent shot of the sky. So
So they move you when someone else has specifically asked for that other site? Is that what's happened?
no, so when I was on the website looking for sites that were available on certain dates, I just had to find whatever
Right.
ones I could find because other people had previously reserved them. So
Okay,
I just
got
had
it.
to kind of
Take
pick and
what you
choose.
could
So
get, yep.
I knew that this one and that other one over there, the one that I was just previously in the last 3 days, I knew that those were excellent for Starlink. And
good.
so that's why I tried to. The next, so tomorrow, I'll talk about this on the
Yeah,
Getting to
later.
Know Us. Yeah. But
Hi,
I'll
Tommy.
be back here at Bald Ridge Creek Campground, the same place I'm in now, except for not the same site, but different site number. Just like one of these is pretty close to where I am right now, but they don't have good shots of the sky. But for the next, until like Friday of next week.
Oh, cool.
So,
We have Tommy Martinson in the chat room, also from Norway.
oh my goodness.
We have
We
the
are number
Nordic-
one in Norway, the number one aviation podcast in
in
Norway.
Norway. Well, at this very instant, probably that's true.
The number one English aviation
Yes.
podcast, probably. And why is my camera doing that? Because I forgot to turn
Nick,
it
have
off.
you found what you need to find?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. So, Jeff, we can go anytime. Have you
Oh, no,
got
we
your...
haven't quite finished yet.
Oh.
He has found it. He just hasn't finished prepping.
Exactly.
Well, you got a hot date or something, Liz?
No, I just know that we could sit here and chat for like an hour.
Yeah,
Which is fine.
I know.
But
I don't think you think so. I don't think you think it's fun.
I really haven't had anything to eat today. I was hoping to have dinner at a decent time.
Why is this still moving around? Damn it. Sorry for my language, people.
Eric says, number one, never been any doubt in his mind. He gets
Oh,
it. He gets
thank
a,
you, Eric.
He gets a,
Amazing. Yeah.
Little like, thank you. Oh, wait, a big shout out to our
That's
Norwegian listeners. Yay.
Exactly.
They make a very large percentage of our audience right now
Exactly.
in the live
In the live.
audience.
Neil
category.
says better than being number two. That's true.
True.
But we try harder. Remember that? Was that Avis? Is that Avis?
Yeah, I think we try harder. I think. Oh, damn it. Okay, one more thing I was going to try. So I'm glad that Nick, just take your time. Just take your time. And RJ, are you going to be able to stay with us the whole time, or are you going to be able? Or are you going to have to?
No,
okay,
I'll
cool.
be here. Yeah.
Did you get
Great.
permission from what's your wife's name?
Claire.
Claire.
Claire. Okay,
Claire.
I thought you
I
said
love the
Rec
name Claire.
Yeah.
Claire. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Claire, you have her permission.
She's at work today, so thankfully
Oh, okay, good.
I've got the house to myself and the dog. She may
Excellent.
make a appearance.
I love it.
Yeah.
Guys, do you want to try Unity? Do you want to, those of us who are going to use
Yep.
Unity?
Well, hang on.
Oh, all right. You're
hang on.
doing something else.
Yeah, I'm getting the show notes together. You remember that thing I was talking
Oh, yeah.
to you
That
about?
thing. Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah.
Gina.
Yeah,
Hi, Gina. We've got Donna, Rose, and Gina in the
Oh,
chat room.
wow. Our female contingent is
I love
strong.
it. Oh, Gina was affected by the hurricane, but she's here for
Oh,
an
no.
APG fix. Hope
Oh,
everything's
well,
okay.
Tell us about it, Gina.
Yeah, you okay? Where are you?
Where do you live?
Any damage? Have you got? Well, you must have hydro. Do you have hydro? Hydro power. We call it power hydro up here because most of it's water generated. We have those big falls over there called
I'm
Niagara.
ready, by the way.
Okay, thanks, Nick.
Well, why is it? Why can't I merge all these?
Sam from LA. Here we go. Okay, let me give it a try.
We were unable to merge all of the items. Why? Huh.
I'll try with Jeff when he's finished doing what he's doing with
Oh, I
his
was
show
thinking,
notes.
is there something wrong with the audio? Because I see your mouth moving. I'm not hearing you.
No, we were talking about you on Unity. That's okay.
Well,
Yeah, we
Gina's
just
ju-
did a Unity check.
Gina's just northwest
busy.
of Tampa International, Jeff.
Oh, wow.
oh no.
I'll be right back.
What
I'm
is-
just gonna make a quick phone call.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just northwest of Tampa International. So I guess it's not as bad as it could have been, Gina.
I think that's the impression I was getting, but
Yeah.
unless you're the big stadium down there that doesn't have a roof anymore.
That'd be
Tropicana
nice place.
Park or Field or
Yeah.
whatever it's called.
in St. Petersburg.
And also that
Tampa.
crane that came down in Tampa, a
Yeah.
big construction crane.
Okay, I'm going to mute my mic in StreamYard and try to talk to you guys in Unity. All right, back in StreamYard. Unity is checked.
He's,
Okay.
So, Jeannie, you've got power back on, or did it go out? Or it's come back on, hopefully. I think
Yeah, it was like
you're-
last
you're
time I looked, it was like 3.5 million people
Incredible.
without power.
3.5 million households, which is a
Yeah,
lot
households.
more
It could be
people.
more. Yeah, more people. Amazing.
I think the worst damage to not the worst, but some of the worst was from those tornadoes that were spun
Oh,
up
they
by
were
the
horrible.
hurricane. Like
That really, you
over-
could tell with the meteorologist covering it, how
Yep.
that caught them so off guard. I mean, it's not unusual to have tornadic activity with a tropical storm or a big hurricane, but not like what they
Right.
got yesterday. I don't think they've ever seen anything like that.
The center,
Center
went
went just south of me,
it's-
in Sarasota. Yeah.
Power is on. Excellent, Gina.
Oh, good.
Great.
Good.
Good to know. Makes such a difference. Because I'm sure it's pretty
Yep.
warm there. You wouldn't want to be without your AC.
Okay, so we checked Radio Roger. We have that done. We have Mazut's Karim is the
Classic, the OG.
Coffee Fun Classic,
Yeah.
and because he does it, he's almost like really a recurring contributor.
Right.
Every month he gives us
Yep.
a nice contribution. Thank you, Mazut's. If you're watching, I don't think he's with us right now live.
No,
but,
haven't seen him yet.
if you're watching the video replay, thank you very much for your support. And we also have a new producer, and what did I say his name was? Douglas Anrig. Onrig.
Aw, I was
There's
so hoping
Mazouz.
it would be
We're just talking
Fairbanks.
about him, and there he is.
Oh, hey Mazuz. Well, I was just saying you are our lone coffee fund classic contributor for today's
and
show.
we're very grateful.
And what you missed also, Mazuz, is that we just found out we are the #1 aviation podcast in Norway.
In Norway, I know.
Yeah.
There are a couple of Norwegian people here.
I wear that
All
proudly.
right, listeners, you can all move out of Norway now. We got #1. You can go somewhere else.
Actually, I say that as if I really know what I'm talking about, and I don't. I mean, for all I know, opposing bases is probably #1 in Norway too.
Jeff, you don't have to explain that you don't know what you're talking about. We kind of
I know everybody knows that. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny, Liz.
All right, RJ, get off the phone.
Is 6:34 all queued up and ready to go? Nick,
I am. Yep.
beautiful.
Ina says
All
it was a
right.
crazy night, especially with a dog that needed to go to the bathroom.
Oh,
But
boy.
minimal damage. Boy, yeah, that must have been scary.
Well, so happy, Gina, that you weren't negatively effective significantly
oh, absolutely.
anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure that a lot of people to the south of you wish that it
Well,
had gone
Jeff
even
has been
further
through
south.
a direct hit of a hurricane in his
Yep.
youth. I-
Category 4 on landfall in Mobile, Alabama,
Alabama.
1979.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be so cool to go through a hurricane, and then I realized about halfway through it, it's not cool at all.
Yeah, no.
Have you experienced a hurricane, RJ?
I have when I was in training at my previous carrier, they had we were in Orlando, and there was that hurricane that came through. So it was not it wasn't a direct hit, but it was pretty close.
You
And we
felt
were-
some of the
some of the
effects.
effects. Yeah. I think I have some video of like just before it came through. The winds and all of that. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see how the people are living right on the coastline.
Yeah,
with the storm surge and everything else, how that can just
Right.
be a terrible
that's not-
So
situation.
Jeff will never be a storm chaser. He'll be a storm avoider.
I'm a storm avoider, storm fleer, whatever you want to call me.
Right?
Yeah, I'm definitely not. The storms are chasing me
Yeah,
because
that's
I'm
right.
out of there.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, and this is a serious question. I keep getting all these texts, like not from anybody that I know, and they are all assuming that I'm looking for work. Now,
Yeah,
is that
it's a scam. It's a normal scam. I get him too. And then
Okay, I was just thinking, well, maybe they know that I just retired and I don't have a job. Hello, I'm Layla Clark, recruiting manager at Corn Ferry. I have a remote position available. The hourly wage is
deleting those texts.
Yeah, that's right.
I know I do, but I'm just getting so tired of having to delete the dang things.
Yeah.
It's just pissing me off.
You're right, Gina. Gina's saying she feels so badly for the people in the Carolinas, especially from the last.
Oh yeah, that was just horrible.
They're still suffering.
That had all that rain and water that had come down from a previous storm system that came through, so the ground was completely saturated. And then when Helene got up their way, I mean, there was nowhere for that water to go except for down those valleys and took out. Oh man, it's just horrible.
A lot of stuff.
Okay.
Recorder's on.
Recorder
on. Yes.
Oh, recorder on. Hang on. And record. The red light is on.
Okay. And you got your countdown now?
And this recorder red light is on. And my countdown is getting queued as we speak.
By the way, Peter Tarantelli says he gave those people your cell phone number, just so you know.
Oh, thank you. Wait, Peter Tarantelli, don't you live in Wauchula or something like that? Are you the one that I was going to meet up with in Florida when I was at in Auburndale?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was Peter, and I think he said it was Wauchula that he lives in, which is like gotten just destroyed, I think, from the hurricane.
Maybe this isn't Peter Tarantelli.
Maybe this is a different. Maybe it's one of those recruiters trying to get me to.
Yes, they've invaded our chat room. Okay, let's go.
Okay, hang on. All right, let's do it.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG, it's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy episode 634.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from the APG Road Vessel Studio. Today's show is recorded on the week of October 7th, 2024.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Picture light and he's flying by with the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, plans are unveiled for a pilotless business jet, allowing passengers to enjoy the cockpit view. And a crash kills 5 people at the Wright Brothers National Memorial's first flight airport. Also ahead, more news and your feedback. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and locked positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 634 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in
New York City.
Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, a U.S. Air Force, former U.S. Air Force pilot and retired Delta Airlines captain. And joining me today from his studio,
in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
Professional photographer, retired, former, I still haven't fixed that, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff. Hi, everyone. Great to be back on the show. Show number 634. Now, airplanes have numbers. They're called the manufacturer's serial number, MSN. And MSN 634 was given to a Twin Otter, a Twotter. Now flies for Trans-Maldivian Airways. Lovely. An A350 that flies for Iberia. An ATR 72 flies for Blue Islands. And a Bell 206B Canadian helicopter. Well, that's who they fly for.
Wow. Well, how can they all be the same? Oh, because different manufacturers.
I'm guessing. It might have something to do with it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Ding, ding, ding.
Thank you. All right. And also joining us from his hotel. No, from his home studio in.
Golden State.
See, if I don't have it written down, I'm like, I'm like, what do they call it? Anchorman.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right. You read
Ron
whatever
Burgundy.
And so what I have written down is from his hotel studio in, and then nothing else. Current first officer on the air. Okay, so from his home. So I wasn't quite ready, Liz. You should have known that. Huntington Beach. Is it okay if I say Huntington Beach?
Yeah, that's fine. It's a big enough city.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be hard to find you.
Yeah.
I'll just tell people to text me if they want to get your exact location.
Yes, exactly. And then I can send them a pin.
Actually, I don't even have your exact location. Wonder why.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. And also joining us from his home studio in Huntington Beach, California. Current first officer on the Airbus A320 family at a major U.S. carrier, the best one. Volunteer flight instructor and check pilot with the Civil Air Patrol. It's Ranjit Rajan, which is he's also known as RJ.
Hello. Hi guys. Good to be back here again. I'm happy to be here.
We're happy to have you back. And also, last but not least, of course, from her studio in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, retired financier and aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our lovely and lovable producer. It's Liz Piper.
Hi, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. And everybody
Happy
in the States is
Thanksgiving.
going, what?
Wait a minute.
What?
Huh?
Anyway,
Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving up here this weekend.
I didn't even get a turkey or a ham or anything.
I know. That's still to come for you. You guys have it so close to Christmas. It's too close to Christmas. Anyway,
Yeah.
have a great show, you guys. Oh, by the
All
way,
right.
Cheers, Liz.
Peter
Yeah.
Tarantelli's in upstate New York at the moment, so he wasn't.
Oh, okay. Is it the same Peter Tarantelli that's
It is.
sometimes down in Florida?
Yep. Yeah.
That's why I was so confused, because he's up in the Syracuse area, from what I remember. In the past, we I had a little mini meetup up there with
there you go.
Peter quite a couple of years ago. Anyway,
he wasn't in the
blah, blah,
hurricane
blah, blah,
path. Okay, bye everybody. Have a good one.
bye. All right, let's do some aviation news.
Stand by for news.
All right, let's start off with item number 1A1 in our news lineup. And the reason why it's an odd number is because it's just something that kind of popped up very recently. Late breaking news, yeah. The preliminary report of the incident at Atlanta International Airport involving the Delta A350 and the Endeavor CRJ 900. Wow. Okay, what is that noise? Why are people are drilling something nearby? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It sounded
sounds
like a
like
leaf
some-
blower.
No, I think it's, I don't know what the heck it is.
Huh.
Hang on.
It's the guys from Obi. They flew over.
I think,
Come
yeah,
to
they
spoil the show.
They hired a couple of people over here. Yeah, if you could find Site 61 and get as close as you can and bring power tools.
Yeah. First, we'll fly over.
Okay, well, it seemed to have stopped. It does look like somebody just pulled into the site across from me, and sometimes that sound is associated with like the little jacks that lift up the tongue jack of the trailer and that kind of thing. So maybe that's what that was. Anyway, we're not going to let that bother me.
Too much.
Okay. Well, let's start then with a clean sheet. Let's start off with this news item. It's a preliminary report involving the incident in Atlanta at the Atlanta International Airport involving a Delta A350 and a Endeavor CRJ 900 on September 10th, 2024, about 10:07 Eastern Daylight Time. Delta Airlines Flight 295 and Airbus 350-941, November 503, Delta November collided with Endeavor Air Flight 5526, doing business for Delta Airlines. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries CRJ 900. I guess they bought.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Mitsubishi-
Okay.
Yeah, Mitsubishi bought over Bombardier and all the line. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. November 302, Papa, Quebec, while taxiing for departure at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see, the CRJ was holding short on runway 8 right on taxiway hotel, waiting for takeoff clearance. The 350 was taxiing along intersecting taxiway Echo, one of the, what we'd call the outer for that north complex. As the A350 passed behind the CRJ, where the taxiways intersected, the right wingtip of the A350 impacted the vertical stabilizer of the CRJ, which resulted in substantial damage to the empennage of the CRJ and minor damage to the A350. No injuries, except I think they did say a minor injury of one of the flight attendants on the CRJ 900. Didn't really give any details about that, but no passengers were injured. So the NTSB and other agencies are on the case, doing some investigation. I was hoping to get, some decent information from this preliminary report, and honestly, it's pretty much what we have already talked about. Yes, that's a good point, Liz, and that's the point I was going to make, actually, that the only thing that was really interesting, and sometimes when you read the prelims, not always, because I've been thrown off by this in the past when they kind of seem to emphasize something in a preliminary report, and then on the final report they don't even talk about the thing that they were emphasizing or seem to be emphasizing in the prelim. But anyway, usually if they kind of focus on something, like maybe have a graphic, if you'll put that up there, Liz, that shows maybe some information about the distance that the RJ was to the hold short line, and then where its tail would be approximately, and then how close would if the A350 was on center line, which we know for sure it was because the first officer said that on the radio. He made sure we were on the center line. So it shows I think they said in the report, the nose wheel was 56 feet from the hold short line of 8 right. And of course that extends the tail into the overlapping wingtip clearance for the A350. And that's why the two met at that point. And they didn't really have any editorial or anything that would indicate what they thought of that. It's just that we just want you to know that this is the deal. This is where that airplane was holding short, and this is why, even though the 350 was on center line, its right wingtip clipped the tail of the CRJ. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is something significant, or do you think that, as we mentioned and talked about when this first happened, I kind of said, well, even if that was true, which it seems that it is true, that the RJ probably wasn't up as far as it probably should have been, it's still, I don't think that it puts the blame on this incident on the RJ crew. That might be what do they call that? Supporting or contributing factors, or a contributing factor in the incident. But I think that I still think, and maybe I'll be wrong, but I still think you have to kind of put the blame on the airplane that struck the tail of the RJ. But again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong. Just ask anybody that knows me.
No, I think it. I think you're right there, Jeff. Because there is no requirement for that CRJ crew to have pulled up all the way up to the whole shop bar. Right? It's wherever the captain felt that he needed to stop, such that he could make sure that his aircraft was clear of the runway. I think it is the responsibility of the taxiing crew behind them to have made sure that their wingtip clearance was they did have wingtip clearance. And I don't know. I've never been in the right seat of a 350, and I don't know whether they have any visibility of their wingtips from the flight deck.
Well, RJ, one of our APG community members, one of the most prestigious of them all, a resident of the UK, right. Captain Nigel, did send us some feedback regarding that, and basically the conclusion was, I guess it's possible, if you put your head right up against the window, you could maybe see a part of the wingtip, curling up or whatever, but it's not great, and you don't have really great perspective. But there are no cameras that are pointed at the wingtips, and for all intents and purposes, you're right. It's really not something that's easily seen as far as clearance. Did I get that right, Captain Nick? That Nigel was trying to.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. You can see the wingtip if you try really hard, but of course all you're seeing is a winglet floating around in space, and you've got no real feeling for its distance from you. So it's very hard to judge. About the only thing that can help you out sometimes is if you've got a sun directly overhead, casting a shadow on the ground. That can be very useful. But of course, once the sun is not directly overhead, it can be quite deceiving. So you've got to use that with care as well. I noticed the air trafficker cleared himself from any possible criticism by saying, continue straight ahead and taxiway Echo as able, and hold short of taxiway Victor. So he was basically saying, go when you're clear.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that should be, without saying, right? Because we've had instructions, and, RJ, you're still continuing to receive instructions taxiing out.
Absolutely.
Follow the so-and-so to runway whatever. And they're just assuming that you're not going to, keep going when they stop or slow down in front of you, that you're not going to plow into them.
Right. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. that I think that is the expectation overall from everyone.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why the CRJ probably didn't feel obliged to pull right up to the holding point, because he basically had a queue behind him. Everyone was playing follow my leader. It wasn't until the 350 had its issue with the nav gear that it had to break out, and now his tail becomes a possible object of concern. Up to that point, it was just a follow my leader.
Right.
Peter Tarantelli up in upstate New York says, doesn't the A350 have a camera on the tail facing forward? Yeah, the answer is yes, but it doesn't point toward the wingtip. You might be able to see. I don't even know if you can see the wing. I don't think you can. It's pointing toward the main landing gear on either side, and so I guess its field of view is only so wide, and it's mainly to make sure that you know where your gear is tracking on the taxiway and runways, and not clearing things with your wingtips. So that's
it'd be similar to what we had on the 340. We could see the inboard engines. We could just about see bits of the outboard engines, but we couldn't see the wingtips. So no.
Anyway. Yeah, so Liz thinks that we are misunderstanding his question, but no, yes, they do have cameras mounted on the tail, but they're pointed toward and oriented toward viewing the landing gear, the main landing gear system, and not the wingtips.
Yeah, they're not wide enough angles to stretch out and let you see the wingtips.
All right.
It'd be great if they were directional. I've always suggested that actually what you really need is a small turret on the bottom of on the belly that you can turn around and look at your engines or your gear, and you can zoom in a bit. Because, heaven's sake, I've got one of those in my damn garden for watching the wildlife, and it sits out there and it's fully mobile. It would be really nice for the aviation industry to catch up and give their crew, especially on these very big aeroplanes where, you can inspect panels. You could do all sorts of clever things with a little turret under it, but apparently it's too hard.
Well, it's too bad that we don't have a system like that we could pan and tilt and zoom. It would be entirely too expensive, of course.
It would be.
Yes, it would.
My wingtip here. Let me check my wingtip over here, Liz. It's extends maybe 3 or 4 inches from the side of my rig here. Yeah. But so Nick makes a great point. I mean, the technology that we have these days, of course, if it has anything to do with commercial aviation or any kind of professional aviation, it's going to be probably 10 to 100 times the cost that it should be. This little camera that I have here is when I bought it was $300, and now I think it's on sale for $180 or something ridiculous. So it's pretty amazing.
It's probably 4K.
It is 4K.
Yeah. But if you put a FAA part number on it, all of a sudden that camera is now worth like $30,000.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to afford it, or it would have taken a pretty big chunk of my retirement savings away. Wouldn't have been worth it. Oh, Neil says just put cameras in the wingtips. Yeah.
You got to run those wires all the way down the wings there, Neil. That's expensive. No, just stick it in the belly. Stick it where all the other wires are.
A belly turret with a gunner? With a gunner? Oh, yeah. Well, now we're talking.
Yes. With a 30mm cannon. Yeah. Get rid of those damn CRJs that's blocking our way.
The 350 wouldn't have had to damage the wingtip at all. They could have just fired at them and taken care of that darn tail.
I mean, that's right. The wingtip would never be damaged, but the tail would still be damaged on the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. We have there's a solution for everything, apparently.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think we should probably move on to our next news item, which is from the Aviation Herald. And of course, it's also from, there's a YouTube video that we have from Skiathoslandings.com. Skiathos, is that? Skiathos? Okay. A Greek island, I think. Is that right? Okay. All right. So let's start with the article from the Aviation Herald. A Sun-class Airbus. I've never heard of Sun-class. Maybe that's some kind of a charter airline, perhaps, or a holiday airline, whatever you call them over there. An A321-200, registration Oscar Yankee Tango Charlie Golf, performing flight 1614 from Stockholm, Sweden to Skiathos, Greece. Landed on Skiathos' runway 19, but touched down hard. The aircraft rolled out without further incident and taxied to the apron. The aircraft was unable to continue service and is currently still on the ground in Skiathos. That was on September 29th, 24. Yes, we'll look at that hard landing very shortly, Liz, as soon as I get the video queued up. According to information the Aviation Herald received from 2 independent sources, the replacement of the landing gear is needed. A replacement of the landing gear that's a hard touchdown.
Yep.
A ferry flight to... Oh, boy. Yeah, I just noticed it says a ferry flight to Copenhagen in Denmark is being prepared where the landing gear will be replaced. Those Danish pilots, you can't trust those guys. Yeah, I'm from... Yeah, I'm not directly Danish, but I do have a Danish heritage, so that's the reason why they forced me to retire, apparently. Okay, let me cue up that video, and we're going to take a look-see and see what they're talking about. See if we can detect from this video any kind of a hard landing. We'll be the judge of this. Let's see. I can't vamp anymore, so I'm just going to shut up and try to find this video. Oh no, where is it? Oh no, it's not there. Well, okay, well, make note of how much time we're going to take for Jeff to download the video. Darn it. I did that on my laptop, and I'm not using my laptop now. I'm using the Mac Mini, and usually those files usually transfer. I have them set up so they'll transfer from one to the other using Dropbox. Right. But apparently, it wasn't uploaded.
Technology, eh?
It was not really, but more smoothly than normal. It's all relative. Let's see here. Wish there was a way just for me to click on this in Evernote and it just play on StreamYard. Wouldn't that be nice? But we get to hear all the things happening in the campground. People are very vocal today, or maybe it's because I never have my my windows open, and it's been there all the time.
You need one of those red beacons, and then a big on-air sign.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that would do the trick. I'm sure everybody would heed that. Oh, hey, shh. That guy over there in that camper, he's recording a podcast. I think they're already wondering about me because you ever been to a crime scene or a airport incident, accident, whatever, and you see those vehicles that have like all these antennas poking out every which way. That's what my RV looks like right now. It has that special antenna I bought for 5G, and then I have a Starlink dish. It's like, what? Who is this guy? Yeah, it does kind of look like a surveillance
secret agent men don't have the aerials sticking out everywhere.
Oh, that's right. They're a little bit more discreet.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, let's see.
You're more like Mr. Ham Man or Mr. Radio Amateur Man.
Yes, I am. Much more like that, for sure. Okay, I'm going to paste my link.
At least your connection's a little bit better than HF.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, everything's better than HF.
Thank goodness. Can you imagine trying to listen to a podcast that was done on HF?
God.
No. And people, if you've heard what we've heard, you would understand that that's just.
Well, I used to try and listen to the cricket commentary on.
And the NDB?
ADFs.
Yeah.
Oh, NDBs, yeah. Well, the ADF, same thing.
ADF, yeah.
I used to tune that in, and you'd be going, fading in and out.
Right.
There's a cricket commentary.
Oh, very good. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, yes. I thought that was the Locust commentary, but never mind.
Okay, apparently this is still...
MC12 Escape. MC12 Escape.
I think it was probably some kind of a keyboard shortcut he has on his machine, and didn't realize he was typing it in the comment box. I don't know. Fess up, Hall Boxes. What is this? What does this mean?
It's a mute Jeff button.
Well, all you have to do is just turn away from just leave.
Just turn the volume down. Yeah.
Yeah. RJ thinks he's funny. You know what? I don't know what's going on here, but this video doesn't want to be shared on our show. It's very I know. Check internet connection. Okay, well, I have an internet connection because we're on it. File wasn't available on site. What? I know it's available because I've just watched it.
An MC-12 is a medium low-altitude twin-engine turboprop flown by the Air Force, I thought.
Yeah, it's a King Air, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You're right.
A primary mission providing intelligence. Well, that's kind of a bit of a joke, really, because it's, Air Force.
I see.
Yeah, now we're understanding.
Yes, it's all coming together now.
It is. Okay, Downey. I think the escape kind of threw us off.
Ah.
Okay, now
Yes.
this application is crashing on me. Great. That's good.
We're having fun yet?
Oh, we're having great fun.
Good man.
I wonder if Liz is having fun back there.
Cool. I've just about finished my first beer, so
No.
yeah.
All right, let's see.
Radio Luxembourg on 1440. Yes, well done, Ludger. You see, you guys never did that, but there were a lot of pirate radio stations around in the 70s, like Radio Carolina.
Ah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that was Radio
I remember
Carolina.
that.
Pirate radio stations. Luxembourg was another one. Horrible quality, yes, it was. But we were sort of feeling like we were illicitly listening to these illegal radio stations. So that's what made it more fun.
Naughty boys.
Yeah.
Okay, I think. Oh, wait, we might be. Okay.
Hooray!
Let's see. Go back over here to StreamYard, present, video file, video, that, and open. And did it show up somewhere? Okay. Okay. So this is a video from what did we call this? Skiathos video or something like that. Okay, so we're gonna have a little bit more here. We're gonna advance this timeline to 16 and a half, I think is about where. I guess it's a camera set up to watch all these takeoffs and landings on this Isle of Skiathos. I'm assuming it's an island. And okay, so coming into view here, we see an aircraft, and it's an A321 coming down, and I'm going to go ahead and start real time right now. Okay, it's coming down the pipe here.
That's
little
looking
bit.
nice.
Yes.
Little tweak down there.
Yeah,
Pull
okay,
up.
they're getting some probably unusual winds. And
Oh no! Push!
Oh.
You should have pulled when he
Ow.
pushed. I mean,
I know. That was just the wrong way to go with that stick.
yep. Ouch.
That's what she said. Okay, reverse. I mean, hey, the landing gear looks fine to me.
Well, all the tires are still inflated.
Yeah,
so
he didn't deflate any tires.
What's wrong with that?
None. I don't see any parts of the wing that have fallen off, or the tail, or anything.
No. He's still got two winglets and everything.
Yeah, let's see if we can maybe get a little bit more of a slow motion view of this coming in. They zoomed in on it, so it's still real time. Oh,
Yeah. That was just the wrong thing to do right then.
yep.
Ouch.
They pushed when they should have pulled, right?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Okay,
Mind you, it
now.
might have lost a bit of speed, so it might have been a bit of an instinctive thing. The speed's going bad, I've got to lower the nose. But of course, it's not exactly the wrong thing to do in a jet. Put on more power, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Because, at a certain point, the runway is going to come up to meet you.
Yeah.
Yes, Peter says, I think we all felt that. I know. Like, ooh. Ow. Ooh.
Yes. I know. I'm with you. If that had been a 340, he'd have dinked his engine pods as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, so
Ouch.
nothing to see here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove that. But finally, thank you for hanging in there with me, everyone, regarding
That was worth watching,
downloading the
that.
video. Yeah, we definitely wanted to see that because that
Yeah.
was just not.
I mean, it's a bit of a notorious place, this, for bad winds and gusting, which kind of means to me you should have a bit of speed in hand. You can't have too much. It looks like it's a very short runway. So you can't just throw lots of speed in hand, but you should have 5 or 10 knots in hand, I think, in those kind of circumstances. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Really not much else to say except, yeah. Oh, no. Okay. So we were thinking that Camacho was going to be able to join us today, at least for part of the show, but apparently there's some kind of a crisis going on at his job, his work place. So, yeah. You got to deal with that. That's the most important. It's all about priorities, right? So, okay. Let's do item B. And this is, and we heard Roger tease this in the intro. Multiple people died after a single-engine plane crashed Saturday afternoon in a wooded area at Wright Brothers National Memorial's First Flight Airport, the National Park Service said. The crash occurred at 5 p.m. According to eyewitnesses, the airplane was trying to land at the airport, the Park Service said in a news release. I believe it was a Cirrus SR-22. Let's see. I think the next article here from Fox News maybe gives us more information about the actual aircraft. They do give more information about the names of the people that passed away in this accident. We're not going to do that. Yeah. But, oh yeah, here it is. The Cirrus SR-22 airplane crashed around 5 p.m. Saturday in a wooded area near the airstrip, which is located near the town of Kill Devil Hills in the Outer Banks. Witnesses reported that the airplane was attempting to land at the airport when the aircraft crashed and sparked a fire that caused the plane to burn. Let's see, anything else? Really don't, that's all we know so far. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mark Van Ram, for sending that in. And if we find out more information about what happened here, Mark, if you kind of are keeping your finger on the pulse of this one, please send us an update. And if they determine what exactly happened with this Cirrus. The problem is with GA, unless there's, well, we might actually learn. I mean, the NTSB might end up investigating this, and they may actually put out a report. And if that's the case, then we'll have a better idea of what happened here. But if not, then it's just going to be, unless you happen to know somebody over there that knows something about this crash, we're probably not going to learn a lesson from it. New half-hour mark. Okay, good. Yeah, and I'm afraid that this one might be another one that didn't make it over. Yeah. So let's skip this video. Yeah, C, until I can work on that. Let's do, did you say D? Okay. We have a lot of news items, by the way, so it won't hurt us at all to kind of skip around a little bit. Okay. This is a final report from, this is in the aviationherald.com. Did we? I don't, maybe we did, but I don't recall this, actually. But maybe we did. The picture, I'm trying to find a picture in. Oh, okay. Well, we've had a lot of pictures with skid marks. I'm not sure that this is one that I've seen. I don't recall this at all, actually.
What kind of websites do you go to?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Well, not those kind of skid marks, fellas. Busted. Okay. Anyway, regardless of whether we covered this or not, we're going to talk about the, what is it, a final report, did I say? I'm scrolling a lot. Okay. So this involved a Condor A320 at Kavala? Not sure. On the 11th of July in 2021. They could not retract the landing gear. The Condor Airbus A320-200 was performing flight 1763 from Kavala, Greece to Dusseldorf, Germany, with 74 passengers and 6 crew. They departed Kavala's runway 23 when the crew stopped the climb at 10,000 due to being unable to retract the landing gear. The aircraft entered a hold to burn off fuel and troubleshoot the issue, then returned to Kavala for a safe landing on runway 23 about 50 minutes after departure. Let's see. I'm going to scroll down to the final report. See what actually happened here. Okay, in September of 2024, last month, the BFU released their final report concluding the probable causes of the accident were after the rejected takeoff at Heraklion.
Heraklion, yes.
Heraklion. I was pretty close. I think
Yeah,
I was
good.
close enough to get a bell. The airplane had been returned to service with a severely damaged nose landing gear shock absorber and thus in a non-airworthy condition. Let's see. Shortly after the rejected takeoff had been initiated, a dynamic rotation derotation occurred, which caused, I guess this is the, need to look at the word again.
Heraklion.
Heraklion. This rejected takeoff happened there. So they initiated a rejected takeoff. A dynamic rotation derotation occurred, which caused a very high derotation rate when the nose landing gear touched down again. After the rejected takeoff, the damping of the nose landing gear shock absorber was still present in spite of the severe damage. The mechanics at that H place lacked the information from the flight crew about the dynamic rotation derotation and the high lateral accelerations during the rejected takeoff. We saw the skid marks there, right? I think those were from that event.
Yep.
Okay. And so I guess I'm gathering from this what they mean is they didn't write that part of it up, and so the mechanics had no idea. Is that what you're getting? Okay.
Either that or they didn't pull the aircraft data recorder.
Oh, okay.
Because they would have got all that information from that.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Okay. After the rejected takeoff, the damage at the right tire sidewalls of the two nose landing gear wheels remained undetected. So they didn't notice that there was damage on the right tire sidewalls. Okay. The maintenance personnel at Heraklion released the aircraft to service again after they had replaced all four main landing gear wheels on the 10th of July, 2021, even though they had no findings or information which could have explained why the airplane veered to the right and thus the reason for the rejected takeoff. After the landing at Kavala on 11 July, 2021, severe damage of the fuselage structure in the area of the nose landing gear was determined caused by the initial deformation of the nose landing gear shock absorber cylinder after the rejected takeoff increased during the following flight. So finally, after takeoff at Kavala, the nose landing gear shock absorber no longer extended completely. Due to the previous flights and the accompanying loads, the crack in the cylinder had opened after takeoff at Kavala. Loss of pressure in the nose landing gear shock absorber occurred, to which the cylinder's strong deformation and the damaged dynamic seal also contributed. It's highly likely that the combination of a high derotation rate during touchdown of the nose landing gear and the lack of nose landing gear dampening resulted in the structural damage of the front fuselage during landing at Kavala. Okay, so it sounds like this all stemmed from an earlier incident that, and I'm not. Do you think that the rejected takeoff was at? I'm trying to understand why during a rejected takeoff that the nose was rotated. That just sounds weird to me, right?
I think it was mishandling of the aircraft. It occurred at 137 knots as the speed when they decided to reject this takeoff.
Okay.
And according to the statement, the captain pulled the thrust relievers to idle and then full reverse, and the pilot in command also executed a left rudder input to get the aircraft back to the centerline and pulled the stick back. Now, yeah, why having done dozens upon dozens of rejected takeoffs in the simulator, only a few in the airplane, but you generally leave the stick in a neutral position. You've been trolling down the runway with it in a neutral position. Nothing's changed. You don't suddenly pull the stick back just because you've elected to reject the takeoff. Keep a very light touch on the stick because you're pretty close to flying speed. Any inputs you're going to put in are going to affect the airframe, and you want the airplane to be sitting nice and settled on all three wheels so that it can brake effectively and you can maintain the centerline during your rejection. So I've no explanation for that.
Yeah, and I just wonder if he was reverting back to primacy and then, pulling back the stick like you would do in a GA airplane for aerodynamic braking.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Or even military background, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Because, aero braking was a thing on certain jets in the military.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
but having got the nose up, and I think it went up a reasonable distance, 10 or 12 feet. She then pushed it back down again at a very high rate. Now, that would not have been helped by the fact that the brakes were coming on now, which is going to derotate the airplane pretty fiercely anyway. That's all that hard braking is going to give a nose down moment to the aircraft. But she derotated the aircraft at, I think, 9.7 degrees a second. Let's call it 10 degrees a second.
Right.
That's very fast. So you really are going to smack that nose on, which is exactly what happened.
So, RJ, I know you fly that family of aircraft.
I do.
How many times have you done this, and what was your excuse?
Thankfully, I've not had to do it yet. In the sim, I've had to do the rejected takeoff. But and I usually try and lift the nose off the ground all the way as much as possible.
Technique.
It's technique only. It's one of the methods that work.
It's kind of like styling. Just style points.
That's right. It's like a wheelie on a motorbike.
Hey, watch me. Hold my beer. I'm going to do this now.
Yeah, and someone else has to hold my beer because my beer doesn't fit in that Airbus cup holder.
You have to buy those really skinny cans.
Skinny cans.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
like the sparkling seltzers. Sometimes they come in those really narrow cans. You probably use one of those, right?
I have never tried.
Oh, well, that's good that you're telling us that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. And I guess I'm just assuming that there must have been multiple flights after that rejected takeoff and several walkarounds. And I guess it wasn't really very obvious the damage that was present from that rejected takeoff.
There's some pictures, aren't there? Some creases on the fuselage that look pretty obvious to me. But I'm not an A320 pilot.
Well, I think RJ, you'd probably pick up on that, right?
Yeah, I would easily see that. That would be, unless it's time to go home. Unless it's go home, then it's a different story.
Or
then
if you've had too many of those sparkling seltzers.
Fine, that's right. That's fine. That should be it.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a little buckle. That's fine.
It's 150% engineering margin anyway, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
You got that covering you. All right. Anything else to say about that?
Not only did it come down hard, they had a lateral acceleration as well. So the nose wheel is going sideways as they try and swing the airplane back to the centerline. So it's got forces going on it in two directions. So hardly surprising it was damaged. Disappointed with the mechanics for not inspecting the gear properly, because they really should have picked up on that. And if they were doing any form of investigation to try and work out why this aircraft had diverged 10 degrees at a very high speed in the takeoff roll, then they would also have been able to get at the information that told them the derotation rate and the amount of G that the nose wheel was subjected to, which should have raised the hackles and the back of their neck. But they no real explanation for why that first rejection happened. There's nothing wrong with the airplane, but all of a sudden at 120 odd knots, there's a whole boot of rudder in the wrong direction, because actually they're trying to correct the airplane to the left, and all of a sudden there's this big boot of rudder to the right, which is why the rejection happened in the first place. Right. And there's no explanation for how that takeoff was mishandled. So I'm a little bit worried about this particular airline. What were they called again?
Condor.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Condor. Oh,
Condor.
well, actually, all right. I mean, they've got a pretty good reputation. I mean, they're a Klingon for Lufthansa, and you know, they come under the sort of Lufthansa's umbrella, and I have a lot of respect for Lufty.
Did you say Klingon?
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking skid marks and Klingons. Potential show title.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll try to get.
No,
Yeah. Okay. You know what? While you were conversing, I did download that video for that other news item. And so let me head back to C. This is a video. That's it right now. In the news item, is this a video? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine. That makes it easier for me, Liz. All I have to do is hit play on the video after I've uploaded it here. So let me see if I can load it up. And open, and it should show up on our video thumbnails. There it is. And so as soon as I say add to stage, it's going to start playing. So this is a Vast Aviation video, Real Aviation Communications, and they use audio from liveatc.net. No, that's the wrong one. The one we just played. So let me load up the correct one. I apologize for that. Here we go. Open. And try this one. Vast Aviation.
Boston Departure Southwest 1306 out of 11000 descending via with Quebec at Manchester.
Southwest 1306 Boston approach to Manchester, altimeter 2974. Proceed direct to Justin, descend and maintain 4000. You can expect the RNAV runway 24 approach.
I have to make a little critique. He didn't actually say that correctly, did he? When he checked in, descending via, aren't you supposed to say what altitude you're passing through? Descending via, right, RJ?
Yeah, you are supposed to say.
Yeah.
You are supposed to say whatever altitude. Actually, he did say. He said out of 11,000 descending via.
Oh, did he?
Back.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, then I take it back. Here, let's replay it.
Boston Departure Southwest 1306 out of 11000 descending via with Quebec at Manchester.
He did it perfectly.
Southwest 1306
Nice job.
Boston approach to Manchester, altimeter 2974. Proceed direct to Justin, descend and maintain 4000. You can expect the RNAV runway 24 approach.
All right, direct Justin down to 4000. We'll expect the RNAV 24 Southwest 1306.
Southwest 1306, current surface wind is 190 at 9er. Runway 17 is available if you want something that's a little bit more into the wind. And the base is about 10 miles west. The field reported at 2,800.
You can accommodate Southwest 1306.
Southwest 1306, absolutely expect vectors for the ILS runway 17 approach, unless you want the RNAV Yankee or Zulu to 17.
No.
The ILS 17 is fine, thanks. Southwest 1306.
I'd always choose
You
the
can expect
ILS.
vectors for that. Once you get a little closer, just continue direct Justin and down to 4,000.
All right, direct Justin down to 4000 Southwest 1306.
Okay, they're making their way toward that.
Southwest 1306, turn left heading 060, vector to final.
Southwest 1306.
Okay. Probably should have said the heading.
Southwest 1306 is an area of light precipitation. 12 o'clock, about 5 miles ahead of you. Cherokee went through that same area, said it was just light rain for him. The moderate precipitation is all to the east of the final.
6.
They're scooting along.
Southwest 1306, descend and maintain 2,500.
2,500 Southwest 1306.
Southwest 1306 is 3 miles from Bloom. Turn right, heading 140. Maintain 2,100 until established on the localizer. Cleared ILS runway 17 approach.
2,100 until established. Cleared ILS 17 Southwest 1306.
Overshoots a little bit.
Southwest 1306, low altitude alert. Check your altitude immediately, 2,100 until established in localizer.
2.1
There's
until established
1700.
at Southwest 1306.
Pretty prompt
Southwest 1306,
reaction to
looks like you're a little
that.
bit to the east of the localizer. Continue the right turn to a heading of 190 to intercept. Maintain 2,100 until established in the localizer.
Right turn heading 190 to reestablish at 2.1 until established Southwest 1306.
Southwest 1306, you just want vectors to come back around for another ILS.
Yeah, that vector's back around, thanks. Southwest 1306.
Yeah.
Southwest 1306.
Let's try this
cancel
again.
Clearance, turn right heading 320 and maintain 2,500.
Right turn heading 320, 2,500, Southwest 1306.
Southwest 1306, speed is your discretion, and the current Manchester altimeter is 2974.
Speed our discretion 2974, Southwest 1306.
And from what I remember, the rest of it just shows the track and vectors back around for another ILS runway 17 approach, and they didn't go too low the second time around, and they made it down to the airport safely. The controller was very helpful, Liz. Kept
almost
very
too
calm
helpful.
about it.
How many approaches would you like? I've got 17 for you to choose from.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's nice that they give you the option, and maybe he was thinking, and so it seems like my last few or couple of years flying, certain airlines seemed to me to prefer flying RNAV approaches and not the ILS or localizer only approaches. I don't know if that's just me, picking up the wrong vibes, or the way maybe this airline is emphasizes certain types of approaches over others in their training and their.
It's your age, Jeff.
Well, but I don't know about you. Maybe I'm wrong, and I am an old guy, obviously, so old that I can't fly for the airlines anymore. I would always, as I mentioned as we were listening to this playback, if I'm offered an ILS over an RNAV, I mean, automatically I will go for the ILS approach, and that might have have something to do with the fact that the aircraft that I have flown and the type of avionics and the types of RNAV systems installed in my airplane have not been super accurate, haven't really impressed me. Now maybe in the Airbus world, RJ, maybe an RNAV approach, or maybe a more modern airplane. I have to say I've never really flown a modern airplane. Maybe the RNAV approaches are more stable and more accurate than an instrument landing system approach.
Yes and no. So there are benefits to both. I think why a lot of airlines prefer to use the RNAV approaches is that when you put an RNAV approach into your FMS, it honors all altitude restrictions along the way down. So you can just set, so let's say you have multiple fixes on the ILS that you have to pass at or above. If you were to just cross the ILS and capture the glide slope and come down, you may not cross those altitudes at those altitudes, depending on your altimeter setting. But if you were on an RNAV approach, which is an overlay of the ILS, regardless of the altimeter setting, it will honor those altitudes. So it will level off if needed while coming down following a certain glide path. So depending on the automation in the aircraft, I think that may make a difference. If I personally, with the Airbus, I still prefer an ILS over an RNAV, and I just take the responsibility of making sure that I do cross those altitudes at or above as needed on the chart. So,
regarding what you just said there, and that may have been why Some airlines prefer the RNAV approaches, basically on what you just said, altitude protections, because in this case was maybe a good example of if you're going to do the ILS approach, then you're not going to have maybe as much. I mean, there's more of it's going to be on you.
Yeah.
To be sure that we are getting, we're not going too low.
What was that altimeter setting? Was it 2974 or something like that? So it is probably, on the low side. So you could be lower than the altitude.
Yeah, but that was like 400 feet low. They got 1,700, 2,100. That's a big altitude.
That's a lot lower.
Error.
Yeah. I think that's
and it happened in a turn as well, which is a classic time for people to, they're trying to intercept, monitoring the gauges, and they're just losing their attention on what altitude they're flying. I wonder if they were hand flying or on the autopilot.
Let's see. Luger says in times of GPS jamming and spoofing, the ILS shines again. That's true. And RNAV approaches have the added risk of wrong altimeter settings. Yeah. Whereas opposed to the ILS approach, now we're talking electronic beams, and they're not affected by altimeter settings. But leading up to the time that you actually intercept the localizer and the glide slope beam, you are subject to human error and I don't know, I guess there are multiple ways for that to happen. Maybe setting the wrong setting in the altimeter window. I don't know. I find it seems to me like the weather was very late at night or early in the morning. Pretty, it was dark. It was night. And it sounds like there was some weather out there too that they were talking about. The Cherokee went through a cell or an area of weather, and it was just light rain. I find it hard to believe. Probably it's not illegal, but I find it hard to believe if they were manually flying. It seems to me that they probably were on the automation and they just misentered something in the automation. I don't know.
Or on the flip side, they could be hand flying, and they were just trying to avoid certain clouds, clouds
That's
in the
true.
way and all of that. They were probably not saying I've ever done it at all, but
no. You've heard of people. Yeah,
I've heard of stories of people
like at the bar drinking a few beers. People go, this is what I did, and you think to yourself, good thing I'm so good. I've never done anything like that. Yeah, and the other thing I'll mention, and I don't know what, and I've never flown the 737, the Boeing 73. I did fly the 727, and that we had a couple of different autopilots. One of the autopilots, you had to be very careful because it would start descending on a glide slope that it perceived. Before you were actually locked on the localizer beam, the lateral guidance coming in. And so you had to make darn sure that you didn't start descending before you were actually tracking inbound on the beam. Whereas I think there are other autopilot systems that require that you have localizer capture before it will disregard your altitude alert setting you have in there and start on the glide slope if you have everything selected properly. So I don't know what kind of system they have on their jets. So that, I guess, is possibly another explanation for it. But, good on the controller. Of course, the controller's got, alerts are going off in the tower. I don't know what the sound is, but I think it sounds much like the French fries are ready at McDonald's. The pilots here, they understand what I'm talking about, because sometimes when the controller is talking to you, you'll hear these spurious sounds in the background, beeping noises and stuff like that. And I always joked around, French fries are ready, but I'm the only one that thought that was funny, actually. But I thought I'd try it again with our audience. Okay, Liz is saying that I'm having audio issues with my signal to the video. Okay. Well, I know what I can do then. If it's only when I'm talking, then I'll stop talking.
Yes. Thank the Lord for that.
There we go. No, there's nothing. Everything is normal here. What I'm hearing is crystal clear, and what I'm recording locally is fine. So it's just whatever is getting sent to StreamYard. And so those of you listening on the video may not hear pristine audio from me, but rest assured that the audio-only podcast will sound perfectly fine. So
Cool.
as long as you can still hear what I'm saying, you can still understand what I'm saying. Okay. So you'll have to put up with that. Sorry. So we have a comment from our live audience, William Salton. I know an airline that had some wonky SOP for NPAs for a while, and it caused all sorts of troubles. A wonky standard operating procedure for non-precision approaches. I'm wondering if he's talking about one that I might be familiar with. I don't know. Kind of too obscure, William. Maybe you can give us a little bit more hints about what airline or what you're talking about exactly. Yeah. So I guess the point of all this, and the reason why it's in our news lineup, is that Southwest seems to be suffering a rash of these incidents with altitudes, especially altitudes lower than they're supposed to be flying. And, we've commented on previous episodes, and in fact, the Southwest Airlines itself is very concerned about this, so much so that I think starting in November, they're going to have some special extra training and discussions and stuff regarding, okay, what are we doing wrong here? What's happening with our SOPs, and why are we having all these low altitude issues? And hopefully they'll figure it out and everybody will get back on track. But this is just yet another example of altitude awareness being an issue.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Coming up on the 1 hour mark, our producer is telling us, and so perhaps we should do maybe one more news item, and then we can move to our getting to know us and other parts of the show. So looking at Captain Nick, I'm going to kind of give you the reins of what you think might be the best item to cover here. We have some.
I think actually, since it's very topical, the A350 flying underneath all those missiles.
Well, that's a good one. Or also, Roger teased the news item about the pilotless airplanes, and you know how I feel about that. Oh yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, you know what? Let's do both of them. Let's do that.
Cool.
The French one. Why does it say my note is not available? Let me refresh this.
Yeah, I'm quick refresh. It came straight back for me.
Oh, okay. Same happened with you then. Okay.
Yep.
All right. This next item here from the Times of Israel. Air France investigating why a jet flew over Iraq amid Iranian missile attack on Israel. Iraqi air traffic control wished Paris-Dubai flight good luck as pilots spotted missiles in the night sky. Air France was already avoiding Israel, Iran, and Lebanon airspace. I guess they just finally got fed up with it and said, the hell with it. We're just going to continue flying right over the top of Israel where all these missiles are flying. Anyway, that was my personal critique. Air France said Wednesday it had launched an inquiry on how a jet on a Paris-Dubai flight went over Iraq as Iranian missiles taking part in an attack on Israel went through the same airspace. Iran launched a barrage of 200 ballistic missiles at Israel on October 1st as tensions in the Mideast soared. The missiles had to cross Iraq to reach Israel. Air France Flight 662 crossed Iraqi territory at the start of the attack, just before Air France ordered its planes to stop flying over Iraq, and local authorities closed Iraqi airspace, according to the French carrier. The LCI television channel, which first reported the incident, said the pilot saw the missiles in the night sky from their cockpit and that Iraqi air traffic control had wished them good luck. Yeah, that may have been Mom. Hey, good luck, guys. Love Air France. Yeah, good luck. On October 1st, information identified an upcoming ballistic missile attack on Israel by Iran. Consequently, and without waiting for instructions from the Iraqi authorities, Air France decided to suspend flights over the country's airspace by its aircraft as of 1700 GMT. However, Flight 662 was flying over the south of Iraq when the Iranian attack began at around 1645. It left the country's airspace shortly before 1700 GMT, so before the time that Air France decided to suspend flights. Iraqi airspace was not officially closed by the local authorities until 1756. Okay, so it was going through that area, before all the official shutting down of airspace occurred. I think they also mentioned here that these missiles over the Iraqi territory were at much higher altitudes than a normal airliner cruise altitude. But the only thing I would say about that is that Iran, the place from which the missiles were launched, in fact, the western region of Iran, is really darn close to Iraq. And they got to go up, right? They got to climb through certain airspace, and they got to come back down once, they're getting closer to Israel. And I think maybe the going up part probably was more dangerous. I don't know what you guys think.
I just think it's horrific. I mean, did we learn nothing from Malaysia Airlines Flight 17? Now, they were targeted by a Russian-backed force, and they were hit by a Buck 9 Mike surface-to-air missile. So that was a guided missile, and they supposedly aimed at a different aircraft, but it took out this poor damned Malaysian 777 and killed everybody on board. But the fact was that quite a few airlines were flying through an airspace where there was a war going on, and the fact that they didn't expect missiles to be going up to the sort of altitudes they were flying at, to me, is absolutely irrelevant. So I have to ask again, what on earth is Air France doing? What on earth is any airline doing flying over a war zone? They're completely unpredictable places. You don't really know who's going to be firing what at whom, and I personally would have been really upset if I saw 200 ballistic missiles go over me as I was tootling along on my way to somewhere boring, and if I'd seen one go over me, I would have been pretty damned upset. So I have to say, stop taking the risk, guys. Just avoid these kind of areas and accept the fact that your flight is going to take an hour longer and consume 12 tons more fuel or whatever. That's my feeling.
Yeah, my question is that photo of those missiles that was showed up on screen, was that taken from the 350's tail camera?
I don't think so. And if they were, then perhaps they wouldn't have released them.
Yeah.
On my X or Instagram account or whatever.
Right.
Say, hey, look what I just did. Where I flew. Go ahead and put that back up, Liz. I think I Haul Boxes makes a good point. The problem was Iran didn't advise anybody, so nobody realized a launch was imminent. Oh, well,
I don't think they're obliged to. It's a war.
Yeah.
You don't kind of necessarily advertise to your targets that you're about to launch. Now, they actually did let some countries know, and that news eventually filtered through to the Americans and then back to the Israelis. But that was no way is that a guarantee that they're not going to fire something else.
True. Yeah, you make a good point, Nick. Have we not learned anything from previous events in history? Yeah, crazy.
So I quite understand why the National Union of Airline Pilots in France are very upset on behalf of their members.
Yeah. No. Why did you do that? You're making us look bad. And it could have resulted in a catastrophe for sure. Okay, and then finally, this more lighter, lighter note of news is H. Excuse me. The beer is talking. Highlight. This from thesun.com. Incredible plan for world's first AI passenger plane with no pilot, where travelers can sit in the cockpit and enjoy the view. This was sent in to us by our radio guy, the guy that does the intros for our show each week, Radio Roger. The article continues, this could be the world's first AI passenger plane where travelers can sit in the cockpit and enjoy the view because there's no pilot. But what about the view of the pilot? They're going to miss that, aren't they? I would say. The fully autonomous private jet concept has been revealed by aerospace giant Embraer, and it represents a breakthrough in futuristic aviation. And they got a bunch of pictures here. Are they? Look at that. Is that the cockpit? Okay. I can't tell. It looks weird to me. It looks like an RV, really. Anyway, the company has joined with Bombardier to provide the futuristic vision of a business jet. It says that's trouble. Why? Because it's Canadian? That's piloted by artificial intelligence. At the National Business Aviation Association event in Orlando, the NBAA in Florida, the jet giant unveiled the plans for a future medium-sized cabin jet. The breakthrough plan features a cabin with 3 zones, Embraer revealed on X. One of the zones shows a lounge with copious amounts of space for seating, including in the cockpit. But the jet wouldn't have so much space if it weren't for the autonomous design, where there's no need for a cockpit or pilot. The futuristic cabin plan is also pictured featuring windows with touchscreens. The plane is also designed to run entirely off sustainable fuel and has a design that has no engines in the wings. Instead, the engines... What? No engines in the wings? Can you believe that? Instead, the engines seem to be situated one above the other and have 3 air intakes, one on top of the fuselage and 2 to the side.
What is this going to do with having no pilots?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess they're just mesmerized.
The engines, and are they trying to divert the attention from the fact that there aren't any pilots on board?
I guess, maybe. I don't know. Maybe they're so dumb they don't really understand what we should be focusing on here. And they're looking at this pretty picture of the. But I think they're probably so young they don't remember the 727 that had 3 engines that were kind of situated the same way in the back there.
No issue with that at all, right?
Now, yeah, no. Well, I have to give them a break because at least that was a T-tail, but this is a V-tail, like a V-tail Bonanza, which is never seen on business jets. An engine configuration with 2 turbofans in the tail. The concept presented was a fully autonomous aircraft that will eliminate the need for a cockpit and enable new cabin configurations, such as a forward lounge. 2
turbofans, but 3 intakes. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, I think you are. That's the way I read it.
Are you sure someone just didn't get the AI a bit wrong and went, that'll have to do. Let's talk our way out of this one.
What do they call that, Nick, when the AI starts making up really weird things? Hallucination or hallucinating? I think that's what we have here, AI hallucinating. But, okay, so the design of the airplane with a V-tail and the 3 intakes and 2 engines, that's something that I could see, but the part of it that I can't really see happening, well, maybe in the private jet industry, is the completely autonomous design with no cockpit, no pilots. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's very, very, very far away. If anything, I mean, people don't really even trust self-driving cars. So
nor should they.
They absolutely should not. So I think if anything, the wealthier folk getting into a plane that has got no pilots, I don't see that happening. They probably want the want everyone else to do it first before.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys also see the photo of the space launch that's happening right behind the plane that was there? One of these photos had a space launch that was happening.
No, I didn't. Oh, look at that. That looks darn close to the launch pad.
Yeah, I think so. But, there are no pilots in there, so no one needs to worry about it.
Well, this airplane is obviously designed to avoid ICBMs, so that's very clever.
Yeah. So it's not, Air France could learn something from this picture here, right? Keep it on the ground, when the missiles are flying.
That's right.
Oh, man. I think that we were just talking about Mohammed regarding the Iraqi airspace there, and he has joined is in our live audience. Hello, Mohammed.
Hello.
Hope you're doing well. And I know that I think he's still currently out of the ATC game over there in Iraq. So we're not going to blame you for this incident at all. So anyway, yeah. Oh, our chat room is not really happy with this concept. Peter Tarantelli says, looks like something you'd see in Popular Mechanics that never comes to fruition. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Ludger says, let me think for a moment. No way. Yeah, no kidding. Maybe in Captain Nick and my lifetime, maybe we'll see cargo only aircraft perhaps starting to test those waters of no pilots in the airplane. I'm not even sure of that, but I think if that would be as far as I would go, at least in the next let's see, our lifetimes, another 50 years. Not in your lifetime, Liz. No, you're too old. Just kidding. She's only a little bit older than we are. Oh, yeah. Getting to know us. Okay. Let's head over here and push this button. Getting to know us, the time of the show where we get all caught up with what has been happening with the hosts since the last time they were on with us. And we're going to start with one who's only been with us on the show one time before, directly acting as a host, RJ, and he's back with us. How long ago was that? Maybe 4 weeks ago or something like that?
Yeah, I would say about a month ago. Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah, so I know a lot has happened, I'm sure, in that period of time. But just to remind everybody, you're an active airline pilot for probably the world's best airline.
I think so too. Yes,
yeah.
It is the world's best airline.
So what have you been up to? Anything interesting?
Nothing too dramatic. Just the usual, going to work. Flying a little bit, as much as I want to, as much as the company, not as much as the company would like me to, but that's a different story.
The liability thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But otherwise, just been hanging around the house, getting some work done on the house, so just kind of supervising some of that, mostly with a beer in hand. And
oh, that's good.
Yeah. But it's been a quiet month. Bidding for next month has started, so we'll see what happens, and that's the holiday season coming up and all of that. Hoping
lots of flying,
hoping for some beneficial days off, but we'll see with my seniority.
So how bad is your seniority and your position in LA?
It wasn't as bad as it was last month.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's getting better.
Yeah, it's this is the most junior I ever will be.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good way to look at it.
That's right. I'm a 70% in base in my seat on my aircraft. So
that means you could probably get Christmas off on reserve. Maybe
I could.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I think,
okay.
And it's possible because I think with the new rule changes that have happened, contract changes that have happened, I think we get paid to work on holidays, paid more to work on holidays.
Ah.
So people want to work on holidays. Some people.
Gotcha.
So it might happen. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to put in for what I want, and we'll see what the cards bring.
Yeah, okay. Well, fingers crossed for you. I hope that
Thank you.
You get what you want, and you can spend time with your wife and
Absolutely.
family during Christmas time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Let's see. Anything interesting happening on any of your trips recently, or has it been all normal stuff and boring and all that kind of stuff?
Thankfully, it has been very, very boring. It
Good.
has been like painting my numbers. So I'm very thankful for that.
Boring is good. I've always
boring
said.
is great. Been doing a little bit of GA flying, otherwise, with the Civil Air Patrol. But
yeah, that's something that you I mentioned in your intro that you gave me to say for when we're introducing you on the show, and we really haven't talked about that. That's an interesting thing. Your involvement with the Civil Air Patrol.
Yeah, it's I volunteer as an instructor pilot and as a check pilot with the Civil Air Patrol. It gets me my GA fix, if you will, without actually having to pay for it. So that's good. And I'm thankful to kind of help other pilots learn and be better pilots, especially those who may not be professional pilots and not in a continuing learning environment. So it's always nice if I pick up certain things in continuing training and all of that. I bring it back to my squadron and to the rest of the people, just kind of help them with their decision making while flying. So to do a little bit of that, do some annual check rides for CAP pilots, for other CAP pilots, and it's nice. It's fun. I enjoy it. I feel like I'm giving back to the community, to the greater aviation community that has given me so much over the years. Overall, it's good. I'm happy to do it. I hope to be continuing to do that throughout.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, looks like somebody in our chat room is having an interesting afternoon. Tim Van Ram, you ever heard of that guy? Missed the beginning again. I'm out in San Francisco Bay patrolling the safety zone for the Blue Angels. They're flying now. Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Now, is he being a little sarcastic? Does he have any connection whatsoever with the Blue Angels? He just happens to be out there in San Francisco Bay watching?
He's just busting the TFR.
Yeah, could be. All right, but he's not flying though. Can you sail? And as a temporary. That's a flight restriction, not a sail restriction. Yeah. Peter Tarantelli is asking. Speaking of getting to know RJ, what does RJ's shirt say?
It says pilots looking down on people since 1903.
Very good. Looking down on people. That's what we do best.
Yeah.
We pilots. Awesome. Captain Nick, sir, how have you been doing? And more importantly, how is Rugger doing?
The saga of Rugger, we hope, is just about over. Having fallen ill during our holiday in Cornwall and with, a nasty abdominal painful condition, of which we have never really been able to isolate to exactly what it is. But we spent a lot of time with vets instead of being on holiday, and eventually cut the holiday short, came home. And I'm glad to say that since we've got him home and we've been settled for the last few days, he has improved enormously. And we had a review with the senior vet at our practice here, and came to the conclusion that it was probably an inflammation of his stomach, which stopped it working properly and stopped things from passing through. And she suspects it might have had something to do with what he was eating at the time. So we've done some investigations and we've moved him onto a low inflammatory diet, which hopefully will fix the problem in future. But other than having a very large and naked strip under his belly there, which is what they had to do when they did an ultrasound, because I guess all the ladies out there will know what that needs. You need to put a lot of jelly on your tummy, and you can't have a furry tummy, and because the ultrasound won't work very well. So they took all his fur off from his belly there when they did the ultrasound scans of him. But no, he's much happier. We're being really cautious with him, so we're not giving him long walks, and we're keeping a very close eye on what he eats, and hopefully that'll be the end of it. And a very expensive period. But there you go.
Yeah,
That's what you do for your pets. And I see you with your lovely dog there, RJ. She's got a big, long, slobbery tongue.
Oh, she does.
Absolutely, she looks absolutely gorgeous, because I've been watching her trying to get some attention from you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you'll understand entirely why we are so worried about it. He's 11 and a half, so we're being careful with him. We didn't really want to have anything too intrusive done, but he's been through a couple of general anesthetics so they can do all these scans and things. And having assembled all the information, that's the best we can come up with, and just watch out for his diet. What else have I been up to? Right, well, I've got a talk coming up for the RAF cadets at a local squadron. RAF cadets used to be the Air Training Corps. Was the organization that got me into aviation, and I was a civilian instructor with them when I worked for Virgin for many years. And I haven't done much with them in recent years, but having got all these talks, and I'm able to sort of pluck one out and go and give one. I volunteered when I saw someone on social media from the local squadron asking from some assistance in a different area, but I said, oh, by the way, while we're chatting, I'm more than happy to give you a prize for your raffle, but would you like me to give you a talk as well? So I'm setting that up, and I'm keen to experiment, because when I was across with you, Jeff, if you remember, I bought a new iPad Pro, and I've now acquired an Apple TV box, which allows me to wirelessly connect the iPad Pro, which I'll have the PowerPoint presentation on, to the projector that they have, which means I can walk around with the iPad in my hand and wirelessly change the slides and do all that stuff. So I'm very interested to see how all that works. This will be a good chance to experiment with.
Did you get the device to make it easier to hold the iPad, like some kind of a grip?
I've got a couple.
Like
I've got a sort of a frame which grips the iPad, and you can hold on to easily. And I've also got a stand which brings it up almost to eye level. So if I want to, I can clip it in there and just walk around the stage and just come back to it when I need to change slides and things. So, yeah, I've got some gear, which is interesting. I'll enjoy playing with that. And I'll enjoy meeting the cadets down at Borden unit. So, that'll be good fun. Do you want me to carry on with the show art?
Yes, please. I mean, again, it's not going to be anything like the previous shows are, that I did. But go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
I got a whole raft of suggestions, like Hurricane Helene, Tropical Storm Event, 27 Dead RV Mice, Movies and Mice, I Can Fly That Copter, orientation and flight gone silent. There were all these suggestions. Are your missiles hung? And eventually I thought, the last one was just read your damn Sky Mall. So I went, hang on a minute, why can't we have an APG Sky Mag, and then I can just put all these suggestions for show titles in an imaginary Sky magazine. So that's what you've got. So I mentioned the show number several times in big print, so no real problem finding the show number there, except I did also hide it. So I don't know if you've got that blow up. There it is. The hidden show number was under the APG logo right there at the top, just underneath Guy show.
Gotcha.
Episode 633 was hidden in there. So
okay.
That it was hidden for people who like trying to find the hidden ones.
Okay.
Anyway, that was I particularly enjoyed doing Captain Jeff heads east. You did actually head west, but I assumed you just messed up with your navigation. And the 27...
I noticed that after the fact, after we were having all these discussions about things, I thought, well, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to notice unless you actually point it out to everybody.
It's very true. 27 dead in RV murder. And are you hung? Which is an embarrassing question to ask someone from the Air Force, because the obvious answer is no.
Yeah, very funny.
And hold my beer, I can fly that for our F-35 pilot. And of course, I thought the pièce de résistance was a competitive provider of transport aeroplanes offered our angry student a new job. Come crash for us. So I enjoyed that one as well. Managed to get a happy birthday to Nick C in there. Mention you in your beautiful sunglasses on the beach sipping cocktails.
It was a Blue Angel cocktail.
Was it? Was
it
actually
blue? Yeah, it was
What's
blue.
In one of those?
Yeah, Curacao was a major component. The liqueur, I think that's called Curacao, isn't it?
Curacao, sounds like it. Yeah. I personally never drink green drinks, and I don't get.
Well, this was blue, so it was okay.
Yeah. Much better blue. The trouble with green is it just looks awful when it's coming out of your nose after you've been sick,
Yeah.
Not good. Not a good thing.
I have to say that I loved this because it was so entertaining to read all of the articles that you put in here and associated pictures to go along with it. It was very entertaining. It was like reading Mad Magazine. I think we should do this every show.
Oh, well, actually, that'd be quite easy. I've got a template now. I
there
just changed the articles.
I love it. I think it's great. That's really very, very creative. I really enjoyed every part of this.
Excellent. I was just a bit worried if Piper was going to get upset, and they haven't got on the phone to me yet, so I think I've got away with that one.
Or you may have been referring to Piper, P-Y-P-E-R aircraft, the Canadian GA company that hardly anybody knows anything about.
Yes, P-E-R. I'm obviously, if only I'd thought about that before I printed it.
Oh, Tim Van Ram is clarifying. Been patrolling on this safety zone annually for 30 years. Okay.
How tall is the mast on your boat? I'm just curious, Tim, because I do remember the Red Arrows, who would do a display annually at Bournemouth over the bay there. The Synchro pair, which were cleared down to 30 feet, hit the mast of a yacht. And when they actually examined it, they discovered that the mast of the yacht was 35 feet tall. So the guy got over this yacht, which sailed into his flight line, and he hit it 5 feet from the top and damaged the aircraft so badly he had to eject.
Oh, no.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I was just wondered how tall your boat was because those Blue Angel boys go down quite close to the water when they're doing their display, don't they?
And they get very close to each other as well. Yeah. Full information. I just put this in the chat there, Tim. Is this something official you do? I mean, still not very clear. Is this something you just happen to go out and do, or somebody actually hired you to do this? Maybe I'm just dense and not picking up on what you're trying to.
I don't suppose he gets paid for it, but he probably does it for fun.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I used to watch the Blue Angels practice when I lived in the neighborhood right next to the Los Alamitos Naval Air Station. Right. Back in the late '60s and early '70s, and we'd get up on the roof of our house and watch them practice their show, and then of course watch the show as well. Pardon me? They were flying the F4s at the time, I believe. No, not biplanes, Liz. That's not funny. Apparently Liz thinks it's funny.
No, they were triplanes anyway.
Triplanes, at least. Yeah. Now the F4, and that F4 was an awesome airplane to use in the demonstration flying, because you light up those burners on that airplane and just like shake the house that you're in. It's just amazing.
Noisy.
Anyway, what have I been doing? Not much, Liz. Doing my normal singing on the weekends, and pretty much I'm singing, and then being a bum for most of the time. I really got the thing published on Monday, as I try to do every week, and I've just been changing campsites. I'm back at the Bald Ridge Creek Bald Ridge Creek campground on Lake Lanier. And I will say that, I left town before Helene came through, and I was in a different campground. But the lake levels were, you could definitely tell, I guess during this time of year and in the wintertime, they lower lake levels. And when I came back here, I know this is a different campground, but still, the lake level is like up to full, because of all the rain from all the stuff to the north of us, flowing through the, it's basically the Chattahoochee River that's dammed up here to Lake Lanier, and then it's controlled flow downstream, but definitely beautiful. The Chattahoochee. Then are you like pulling my leg, Liz, because you know that I like to talk about what the Chattahoochee River does? Oh, yes, it does. It flows into the north part of Lake Lanier. It's dammed up, it becomes a lake, and then it continues. The Chattahoochee River flows down through Atlanta and heads down toward LaGrange, Georgia, and West Point Lake, and then it becomes the border between Georgia and Alabama as it continues southward down toward Florida, and then where Alabama, Georgia, and Florida meet, the river flows in that area, becomes another lake, and then out of that lake, what was the name of that lake? Seminole, I think, Lake Seminole, and then out of that lake, the Apalachicola, I think, river continues down to the Gulf of Mexico. So the Chattahoochee River doesn't actually stay intact or named that way all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, but most of the way down. But if you were a drop of water, you would make your way all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. And if you were a drop of water, why would you be watching or listening to the Airline Pilot Guy show? That's what I'd like to know. But
how as well?
Yeah, or how exactly? I like to say Chattahoochee. I do, Peter. The church that I used to be a member, the parish that I was a member of, was St. Andrew. It was located on the Chattahoochee River, actually. And it flows right next to it, very close. In fact, it got some flooding from all the rain and the storm. But I used to like to refer to it as St. Andy's on the Hoochie Coochie. But my wife, that may have been why she divorced me. I'm not sure, but she did not like me to refer to it that way. And so I continued to do so because I knew that it made her mad. Anyway, so that's all I've been doing. I did want to mention that one of the deacons at our church, also the husband of and father of the ladies that I sing with on one of our masses, the Thomasburgers, Deacon Dave, just went through some surgeries, triple heart bypass surgery, not triple heart. He only has one heart. Triple bypass heart surgery. And I went, as far as I know, he only has one. I went to visit him yesterday, and so it was nice seeing Deacon Dave there. And then, the choir director, Jane, her husband, Chuck, they are part of a group, German Oompa band, I guess, the kind of thing that you would see at a beer fest, perhaps, or an Oktoberfest, maybe. And we have a little town here up in the North Georgia mountains called Helen, Georgia, Helen, Helen. And it's kind of a German-themed town. It's very cute, very cozy, very, touristy. And every year they have their own little Oktoberfest celebration. This weekend, on Saturday, the band that Jane and Chuck and their kids and just a couple others are performing in Helen, playing the German oompa, polka music, that kind of stuff. And so I'm going to be going up there. So what I've decided I'm going to do, because I was warned that the traffic heading up to Helen, Georgia for Oktoberfest weekend is like super, super busy, and you need to avoid it at all costs. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-position myself up to Cleveland, Georgia, which is not far from Helen, Georgia, to the north. And it's a Harvest Host location. It's a vineyard and winery. And so I'm going to spend the night there on Friday. So I'm checking out tomorrow morning, singing in a funeral tomorrow, and then heading up toward Cleveland, Georgia to pre-position for Saturday morning. So it's only like a 20-minute drive from there up to Helen. So that should work out pretty well. I should be able to find a place to park and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll be back here at Baldridge Creek Campground until basically Friday of next week. The weather is supposed to be very nice, and it's the high temperature today is like 73 or something like that. So it's very, very cozy and comfortable. And so it's been beautiful weather and loving life. So that's what I've been up to and what I'm about to do. And now might be a good time for us to talk about the
Enjoy and
coffee
good 1, 2, 3, super.
Yeah. All right, let's do this. How do you say coffee in German?
Johnny, how much more coffee?
No thanks.
I love coffee, I love tea, I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup.
Oh yeah, the Coffee Fund is your way, dear listener, to support our show financially if you have resources to do that. A couple of different ways. One is the Coffee Fund Classic method, the OG contribution mechanism. And he comes in again, as he does every month. Mazutz Karim, Dr. Karim is giving us a nice, generous donation. Thank you very much, sir, for supporting aviation podcasting. And we have a different way to support our show or become a part of our Coffee Fund cadre or Coffee Bar Club, and that's via Patreon. You can become a patron of our show. And we have a new patron, a new producer, Douglas Anrig, I think. Anrig or Anrig. He's just signed up for that, so thank you very much, Douglas, for that. If you want to be a patron or use or become part of our Coffee Bar Club, you can head over to the airlinepilotguy.com/coffee show. Now, the website. Go there. You'll learn more about this Coffee Fund thing. You'll be glad you did, and we will too. Smooth. That's me. That's me. Thank you. Okay. And then, all right. So now Captain Nick is back from his physiological journey. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
I just went for a walk around the garden.
Oh, did you? Okay. Uh-huh. Watering the plants. Yes. No wonder they're dying. Okay. Okay. All righty. Let's hit the feedback bumper.
Captain, incoming message.
Okay. We're going to start with this from Brian. It's a video. Oh, hang on. Did I skip one? Oh, I did. Yes. Yeah, you're right, Liz. We're going to start our feedback segment this week with some audio from Mike. I'm not hearing anything. Mike, come on, man. You know what? Sometimes you get all excited about, doing audio feedback, and then when you're on stage and it's your turn, you just you freeze. So let me try an alternative method of listening to Mike. Okay, here we go.
Hi, APG crew. This is Mike here. I found your podcast about 3 or 4 years ago, and I've been listening since. I'm a patron and enjoy it on a weekly basis, so thanks for all you do in getting it put together. I'm a 2 million mile traveler on the back end of the plane on Delta, and in my travels, I've collected a lot of loose change and bills from other currencies. I'm wondering, what do you road wires do to get rid of that or cash that in, or is that just a liability we pass on to our children someday? Appreciate your help. Thanks for all you do. Bye.
Yeah, give it to your kids. They'll know what to do with it, maybe. That's a good question, and one that I don't really have a good answer for. So I'm going to give the stage to our guests or our other hosts to see if they may have an idea of what to do with your leftover change from other countries.
I remember there used to be a man dressed as a priest that used to hang around the terminal at Los Angeles collecting collecting money. And I always used to say, "Oh, here you go, Father," and hand him my loose change. And till I read in the newspaper that he'd been arrested because he was a complete fraud.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did he look kind of like RJ?
Oh, no, actually, no, because he looked just like a Catholic priest, and he had a few nuns with him as well. So, if you missed the priest, you got the nuns. So, okay. Having said that, I know not a lot of airlines will leave you a little envelope in the back seat, which to put your loose change in, and they're usually donating all that to a specific charity, which our airline used to change it on a regular basis. So if you didn't like that charity, it just went to another one a few months later. So that might be one way. But having said that, if you've got a lot, I'm not quite sure how you're going to get it all on the aeroplane and then divide it up with all these little envelopes you're going to have to grab, because they didn't hold very much. But anyway, good luck with that. By the way, that's exactly what my old man did. He left me with this huge drawer full of all these strange coins, coins with holes in the middle, ancient coins. They were just completely useless. They were like a load of shrapnel.
We just transfer those to the next generation.
Doesn't the APG take it as part of the coffee fund?
Well, no, we do not. RJ, that is not something that you should have said.
You don't have it.
Want your change. Send it to 100 Airline Pilot Guy Lane.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Georgia, 30320. I think that's the zip code for Delta.
That's a good one, Mazouz. It could well have been Leonardo DiCaprio pretending to be a priest. You're quite right.
Yeah. Catch me if you can, for sure.
Like the movie Airplane, where he's trying to beat through all those priests and those monks as he's running through the terminal.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah, good point, Liz.
The engines,
just like the Chinese ladies.
Yes. That would bring good luck, apparently.
Yeah. So obviously, we're not really helping Mike at all. We don't have an answer, a good answer anyway. We have answers. Yeah.
We have a machine in our supermarket that you just pour the change into. It counts it and gives you notes back.
But it has to be the currency of your country. I'm sure that if you put in foreign currency, it would go, yeah.
All right. Drill holes in it and turn them into washers.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, that's true. The main man Micah in our live audience says, in the USA, exchange rates are terrible or close to impossible. Consumer advocates suggest that you're better off giving it to friends that may be traveling to that country rather than anything else. You can some airports you can take, you can exchange the currency, but the rate that you get doesn't make it worth it. Oh, I don't
thought
know.
in the States it costs more to make a cent coin than it's actually worth.
It's worth. I'm sure that's true.
Yeah. So why don't you just melt it down and sell the metal?
There you go.
There's probably a law against that.
Probably. Yeah.
Probably.
It's
Defacing currency.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Liz
we're
is-
now thinking about it, someone else has thought about it a long time ago.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, Liz is getting tired of our banter, and she wants us to move on to something else. So we're going to move on to this ridiculous thing sent in. And Brian's not ridiculous, but what he has sent us is, and the title of his feedback is Spirit Airlines Takeoff During Ground Stop. He said, now he starts off by saying, I'm not sure if this is a real video, but it's interesting. If this is real, who's right? Okay, so let's go ahead and play this.
Ground hold position, there's a tornado coming. Oh, come on, we're already on the runway. Spirit 861, where are you going? Vegas. Spirit 861, you can't do that. I ordered a ground stop. Yeah, but not an air stop. I need to never fly Spirit again.
Okay.
Oh, that was so realistic. Very impressive.
So first of all, I'd like to get on my soapbox and say I am getting so tired of seeing these, especially these little shorts on video and other platforms that show shorts, and they show video. They play. In this case, it's not real video. I mean, real audio. But some places they actually play real live ATC audio, and the video that they're displaying has absolutely no connection whatsoever with. I mean, usually it's not even the right airline, the right airplane, whatever. It's just video of some airplane doing something, and it just drives me nuts. But this one has not only done that, but it also has, this audio is definitely made up audio. I mean, the controlling agency never ever once says whatever tower they are. The radio communications was completely wrong. But let's say that it was actual communications, and they were, this is a real situation. I guess Brian's question is, if this were real, who would have been right? I mean, and I think that the bottom line is that whether you think that you can go or not, if you don't have clearance from air traffic control, unless it's an uncontrolled field and you're flying VFR, visual flight rules, you can't. You don't have any. Well, you can, but it's illegal. You would not do that, especially a scheduled commercial airline here in the United States wouldn't just blow it off and say, well, it's a ground stop, but it's not an air stop, so we're going to go ahead and take off. No, just no. That would definitely be a violent deviation, Liz.
But if he'd gone, yeehaw, then it would have been okay, yeah?
Oh, well, yeah, no, I may have given him a little bit more leeway. And then if you hear that, then you go, okay, you can do whatever you want, sir.
Off you go, bye.
Yeah, so I guess the reason why at first I'm thinking, I'm not even going to address this on the show, but then I'm thinking, this will give us a chance to kind of tell people, be careful about what you're watching. Yeah, fake news for sure. When you're watching videos and stuff like that, I mean, you can't be sure that this is all real. In fact, probably most of it isn't. So, just a fair warning. The next video, Liz, you think is real? Okay, I think
well, it's from Mars. Of course, it's not real.
Well, it's Martin Mars, though, Nick. I guess there's well, let's have a look at this this video here. Well, I guess, do I need to set it up first? This is from Kevin Dryden. and I believe he is a Canadian. Yep, from Comox. Is that the way you pronounce that? Comox? Comox. He says, this is the Martin Mars water bomber, just retired and gone to the BC Aviation Museum on the South Island. Built as flying boats by the U.S. Navy in the 40s, they quickly became obsolete after World War II and were purchased by a consortium of forestry companies and used to fight forest fires here in British Columbia. They have been a sight to see on Sprout Lake on the Mid-Island for many years, and the last one was just retired. A real treat to see this grand lady lumbering along, distinctive radial engines roaring. The end of an era. And so he sent actually a links to a couple videos. We're just going to play a little bit of one of them. And I have to tell you, I've seen this in person, this airplane, and heard it in person, and it is absolutely beautiful. I've always had a thing for flying boats. And this is one of the beautiful ones.
History was made with the final flight of Hawaii Mars, a 1945 built Martin JRM Mars. This massive flying boat turned water bomber made its last ever landing in Patricia Bay, just west of Victoria International Airport. Hawaii Mars took off from Sprout Lake for the last time and then flew down the eastern coast of Vancouver Island. It passed over YYJ Airport and down to downtown Victoria before coming back north, and was actually accompanied part of the way by the Snowbirds. This was an incredible send-off to an airplane that's been a fixture of Vancouver Island and the rest of BC for decades, and it is very fitting that Hawaii Mars will be preserved here at the British Columbia Aviation Museum. A couple friends and I rented a boat once again to capture this historical event as best as we could, so I hope you enjoy the video.
Yeah, let's hear that thing. Okay, it's in the distance, being flanked by the Snowbirds, the Canadian demonstration
I
team.
love the fact that it's louder than, 9...
Yeah, he can't even hear the jets.
Jets.
Oh, hear the jets a little bit now. But mostly still those radial engines.
Yes, correct.
Isn't that awesome? Beautiful airplane, beautiful display. We're going to go ahead and stop the video at this point so you can watch the rest of it and the other one accompanying it. iHall Boxes in our live audience says, a flying boat RV. What more does a man need? Ooh, good point. Do you know of one for sale, perhaps? Other than the now they've been trying to sell I think this particular one for a while. In fact, I think this is the one that made the rounds back in 2019 at Oshkosh AirVenture, and unfortunately, it landed on Lake Winnebago, and I think when it was taxiing in or something, it hit some rocks and did some damage to the hull of the aircraft, which was very disappointing because I was really looking forward to seeing that thing fly at AirVenture, and we never got a chance to see that. They had to take care of the damaged airplane and fly it back home. But I think the reason why they were there was basically to see if there were any interested buyers of the airplane. Well, yeah, I didn't quite. I think that was the price they were asking, Liz, was considerably more than the funds that I have available, even in the coffee fund, believe it or not. Yeah, I need to return the antenna and see if I can buy the Martin Mars bomber. Yeah. Anyway,
maybe
beautiful.
they need an antenna. You could do a trade.
Yeah, that's true. Somebody might trade me. I think it's too late now. It's going to the BC Museum. Oh, well. I had my chance, I guess, and I just squandered it. I blew it. Oh, well. Anyway, thanks, Brian, for sending that in. And I'm sorry, Kevin, not Brian. And let's move on with some audio feedback from, Vernon, our good friend Vernon. Now, let's see. Is he confused? Well, I mean, if you listen to our show, it's very easy to be confused. So let's see if I can get this to play in Evernote.
Hey, APG community. This is Vernon Tryon from Fort Morgan, Colorado. I'm a little bit confused by APG 630 with the Salmon 30 Salmon logo for the artwork for the episode. I must have slept through it because I didn't hear in the podcast any reference to the cover artwork. So I just wanted to see, did I sleep through something, or did that fail to get on there? And I got to tell you, though, I usually listen to get through all the way to episodes of APG without taking a nap, but maybe I missed it this time. Anyway, I enjoy the artwork. I think it might have come from some of my previous input, but now I'm confused. So, as always, addicted but sometimes confused, Vernon Tryon from Fort Morgan, Colorado. Bye for now.
Are you sure?
As soon as I figure out how to turn this thing off.
Vernon, always so good to hear
Nice
from
one,
you.
Vernon. Nice one.
Now, and thank you for causing this video to be flagged by Google, I'm sure, hearing that music in the background. That's okay. A flag's okay. We don't monetize the videos, so it doesn't hurt us. But it's always good to hear the background music. It's kind of one of his trademarks, I think. So I'm confused about your confusion. But honestly, I don't really know for sure exactly how to clarify things. I just remember that we did talk about somebody talking about that story about the hitting the airborne fish, salmon, yeah, and then that kind of led us into yeah.
No, then for some
reason we
talked about the paintwork on the Alaskan 737s that resembled a salmon.
Yes.
And I kind of think that's kind of snowballed, I should say, not mothballed.
Not mothballed. But was it Vernon that mentioned the story about the eagle dropping or whatever? Oh, it was him? Okay. Yeah, so I think that we just kind of went down in one of our many rabbit holes or rat holes, probably more appropriate, and we started talking about the livery of the Alaska, which was just perfect, tied in perfectly. So that's and then Nick did his own thing, So makes complete sense to us.
It was like 3 years ago now, so I'm finding it hard to remember.
No, it wasn't that long ago. Maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay. A lot of water's gone under my bridge since then. So,
a lot of beer. So I like the fact that he said, I try not to nap or sleep during the show, but I may have taken a nap and missed it.
Yeah.
Addicted to, or what was the one that I came up with at the beginning?
Oh, I've got Klingons and skid marks.
I'm afraid
I've already got
Klingons.
Exactly in my mind what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Well, thanks, Vernon. As always, enjoy getting feedback from you. And Vernon's been a long time supporter of our show, and he's been there from I think the beginning. So. Always good to hear from you, sir.
Oh, and of course, I've met him as well. So he came across to the UK, and we met up in a pub in Portsmouth or Southsea or somewhere.
I met him along with Main Man Micah and Max Flight up in Maine, of all things. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, well. Maybe another time. All right. Half an hour left. All right. Let's move on then with this from Wizard Phil. Feedback on the feedback. He said, I wasn't sure if you were aware about a previous Delta event between a Delta 767 and a Delta Connection CRJ in Boston back in 2011. And, he's right. It was a Delta 767-300 and a ASA CRJ 900. The 767 winglet hit the tail of the CRJ 900 and knocked it off the fuselage. Not completely, but bad enough. I believe it was Canadair that came in and replaced the total tail section. Looks like you Delta pilots like tail. Well, we'd like to. Oh, never mind. Also, not to beat a dead horse, there seemed to be a question about the American 737NG that had the total brake failure a while back, and how it could fly 17 legs with no problem. That is until anti-skid was requested for locked wheel protection. There is an NTSB report on the event, which states, and he goes on talking about, yeah, we covered the report actually. We were aware of that, and that was part of our confusion.
But I couldn't understand a word of it. So
yeah, exactly. There were just
technical.
A lot of things that were kind of like a little like not too technical. That we just still couldn't understand why until somebody explained that once if you could fly that many flights without having any kind of an issue, and again, until you're on a flight that really needs to get on those brakes and really exercise that anti-skid braking system, and then we could see how that the swapped lines between the right outboard and inboard wheels at the servo valves would cause a problem. Yeah, so we finally kind of went, oh, okay, now I get it. But yeah, we did believe it. You must have been, along with Vernon, sleeping when we talked about this, or maybe you just missed that show. He says the crew did a fantastic job in controlling the aircraft, maintaining it on the runway, given brake control was basically non-existent. Anyway, thanks for letting me ramble on. As Captain Nick said, he joked about being old for years until he got old. Well, I'm there now. That's Wizard Phil. Yeah, we all are, Wizard. Regards and thanks to, well, not RJ, but most of us. Regards and thanks to you all for a most enjoyable listening adventure, Wizard Phil. And then he gave us some more detail about the preliminary report and some pictures, and then he also included a link to the event that occurred in Boston and back in 2011, July of 2011, when the 76300 kind of clipped the tail of that CRJ 900. I don't think in this case, well, I'm not really sure. I don't remember exactly all the details. We did cover it on the show, but it's been quite a while since we did, and and that would have been when it was just me, not my crew, to bail me out of saying something stupid. But I'm not sure the circumstances were they're very similar, but not quite exactly the same. So thanks for that. And shall we move on, Liz, I guess? All right. Well, this is from New York Any Mouse. Anonymous. This is something that keeps me awake at night. An e-cigarette in the cargo hold having a thermal runaway while I'm over one of the NATs, the National or the North Atlantic Track
Treaty
System
Organization. No.
Oh, wait, that's something similar, but not quite the same. North American Track System, right? North Atlantic Track System. Gosh darn it. All right. Well, whatever. NATS, we'll just say that. So he linked to an article in AvWeb that talked about e-cigarettes lead the way in aviation-related thermal runaway incidents. And they said the vaping devices and portable chargers are often stored in checked baggage. And so I guess it's talking about a report or something that the Tobacco Reporter posted this week. Oh, the Tobacco Reporter. Let me think about this. That's probably an organization that supports tobacco, which is something that e-cigarettes is taking away from because it's not tobacco. Interesting. Yeah, so if you're interested in this sort of thing, that's a nice article to read, which we'll have linked up in the show notes, unless there's anything the crew would like to
just to point out the fact that this is doubly bad because it's not just damage to the battery, or the battery just having a fault that causes these. Of course, there's a heating element in this device, which can be quite easily activated if it's not in a secure container. And of course, the heating element heats up the battery, heats up the whole thing until it starts catching fire. And then, of course, the battery then gets very hot and has a thermal runaway. So unlike other devices, which usually only have a problem if they're being charged when they generate heat, or if they've been damaged, this one has almost like it's got a fuse within it, these cigarette devices, so that the heating element is the thing that does the damage, and it's something that's quite easily turned on.
Okay. They did say in the report, the good news is that close to 90% of incidents involve devices stored near the passenger's seat, making them easier to detect before the device explodes or fire ignites. But passengers are increasingly storing rechargeable devices in checked luggage, out of the reach of air crews. Yeah, something that I think that we can't take for granted, and we have to maybe emphasize more as far as preventing something catastrophic from occurring in the cargo hold.
Yeah.
All right. Brian from Katy, Texas, incognito pilot. He says, oh, this is good. And I think we probably know the answer to this question. I was at an airport last Friday when I noticed a person that looked like they were a pilot with the distinctive carry-on bags, the white shirt, and dark pants. But what was weird was epaulets were missing, even though the loops on the shoulders were there, and there was nothing on the front of his shirt, wings, badge, etc. I can see if a person was off duty, they might want to remove items, but it definitely looked odd. Have you ever flown like this before? Brian from Katy, Texas. No, Brian, I have not. It's very, but there are a lot of commuting pilots that do travel this way, but usually I would say, and I think RJ and Nick would agree with me, that if they were going to do that, they would probably put some kind of like a light windbreaker or a blazer or something over the top of the clearly, it's a pilot uniform shirt with stuff on it. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right there. I think some people do get, if they're just taking a quick flight or whatever, they might be just so inclined to just take off their epaulets, their wings, their name tags or whatever, and just get on the plane with that white shirt. But I think most people that I have seen either, like you said, have a little light windbreaker, or some even just have a shirt that they just throw over it, a long sleeve shirt that they just throw over it and call it good.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody was buying liquor in uniform.
Could be. Yeah. If I was, and we did this very rarely, but if I was just a line captain and I was put on an aircraft because they couldn't find a first officer on call, and they just wanted a cruise pilot, which happened a few times, I used to take my rank off when we got off, because I didn't want to be confused with the captain. I was obviously not acting as the captain, and if someone wanted to ask the captain a question, they go to the bloody captain. So I actually took my rank off quite often and walked around pretty much as Brian describes. But that was really just to stop people kind of rushing up going, oh, Captain, come and fix this. And I was going, no, you not this trip. Go and speak to the real captain.
Yeah. Or what you should have done, Nick, is wear a shirt like RJ's wearing, except for just say, I am not the captain.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Right.
There'll be no confusion.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, I think that, I've seen a lot. I wasn't a commuting pilot myself, but I see a lot of guys that will just throw something over, or they'll change their uniform shirt. And a lot of times they'll change everything they're wearing, including their pants and shoes and everything else. But you look at the black or dark blue pants and the shoes, and you kind of go, I think that's a pilot. And of course, as Brian mentioned, the very distinctive, and that may be changing, I don't know, but when I was still flying, the almost, I'd say 90-something% of the pilots out there were wearing or were toting the or rolling the roller boards made by Luggage Works. Used to be called Purdy. I forgot what they called that. It was the same company, but they just changed the name because it was kind of a dumb name to begin with. But and the reason why we carry those bags is they're very sturdy. They're not lightweight for sure, but they are built like a tank. And if you're going to have a long career flying, you don't want to have to buy a suitcase every year, right? You want to have one that's going to last for a while. Wouldn't you say that's true, RJ?
I agree entirely. And, I was just thinking, I did remember one time where I did just take my epaulets off and my wings off. That was I was commuting with my previous airline, and they had a rule that you could not, in uniform, you could not sit in the upper classes, the first class and all of that. So the only seat that they had available, and of course I'm the last one aboard, the only seat they had available was a seat in the first class cabin. And so I had to stand there in the jet bridge and quickly take off my epaulets and my wings, because that was the only way that I could do that to get on the plane. I did look a little funny with a shirt that is clearly a pilot shirt, but it made it work rather than delaying the flight.
Exactly.
For me to open my bag and try and find a different shirt to put on.
Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, and
that's right.
There were several times for me, even though I didn't really commute, but I would come home from a trip and maybe on the way home stop at a grocery store or something like that, and that was something that they kind of frowned upon in full uniform. So I would take off my epaulets but I would try to throw something over the top of it to not be obvious that I was wearing a pilot uniform.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't the company provide you with luggage?
No, not in the U.S. No, we.
Good Lord!
I know
what
a
a bunch of skinflints. That's dreadful.
Well, they compensated us
savages,
pretty well, though.
Yeah,
so
they did.
they figure, we paid them enough money they can afford to buy a suitcase.
That's right.
Oh, golly, it's a
They didn't provide, except for your initial training.
Did they pay for your medicals?
Yes, they did.
Oh, okay.
Except for your initial training, they didn't pay for uniforms either.
Did they pay for your license renewals?
We don't have license renewals.
We don't have license renewals.
Yeah, because that was a certificate.
Well, even if you have a type rating change.
Yeah, that's all paid for.
Yeah, that's all paid for.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just checking. Just seeing how big a skinflint they were.
Just the uniforms and luggage.
That's right.
That was something
the things that
matter. Uniforms! You had to buy your own uniforms.
Except for the initial.
Dreadful.
Except for the initial, yeah.
Except for the initial issue of your uniform, and if they changed the uniforms like they just did recently at a airline that I may or may not have flown for, that didn't change the uniform drastically, but they did change it enough that they wanted everybody to have new versions of the uniform, and they paid for all that initial issuance.
That's right.
So
I'm very glad.
Well, I'm glad that you're glad. That makes me happy. Let's continue with. Really, it does. Oh, okay. You want to do? All right. Here we go. Now I have to say that this incident or incidents that this person refers to in this feedback were covered on a show that, Nick, you weren't on. Neither were you, RJ. So you're both off the hook. So I'm going to have to take full blame for all of this, apparently. I think it was myself and it was Dr. Steph and Camacho. We were the team on that, and of course Liz in the background. And I think I'd blame everything on Liz, honestly. Yeah. So she just admitted it was all her fault. Okay. Good morning, guys. Yeah, because he talks about Toronto, or we did, and so that has to have something to do with Liz. Okay. Good morning, guys and gals. Medium, long-time listener. Second time I've felt compelled to reach out via email. On episode 632, so it wasn't that long ago, regarding the JFK Tower Controller and Aeromexico pilot verbally sparring over the need to relax. I think you missed the mark, spending too much time making light of the conflict and then getting sidetracked with folksier folks performance at Chicago O'Hare and Toronto Pearson. Now, let me just pause. This is not John's feedback. This is Jeff speaking. That's the whole point of the show, is to make light of these conflicts and getting sidetracked. That's what we do here. Have you really been listening for a long time, John? No. Okay. But point taken. So he said, here's what I heard on that extended ATC recording. Okay, I think he means that I played too much of it. Combined positions due to time of day, night, and chronic understaffing within the ATC ranks in general and at New York approach and the various New York area control towers in particular. Okay, yeah, we heard that. Mid-shift controllers like being even more fatigued than day and swing shifts, or likely being more fatigued. Yes, we can agree with that. Probable ongoing controller union management procedural conflicts. Yep, that's always a thing. A high percentage of pilots at that particular moment whose primary language is not English. Aeromexico, Cathay Pacific, Korean, Copa, etc. Plus, the Delta transmissions were obviously by a non-pilot, a maintenance person, making him a high maintenance, as high maintenance as many of the other foreign pilots. And then he continues, I don't care what time of day or night we're talking about. At airfields as complex as JFK, one position managing the high workload and resulting stress is untenable and its own recipe for disaster. All this regardless of New York controllers' legendary reputation, deserved or not, for rudeness and short tempers. And I think that we can all agree with that statement. Yes. It's just untenable. Yes. Well, the second part of that, for sure, the legendary reputation for rudeness and short tempers, but also the fact that one position, even in the middle of the night, it's still busy, as we heard in that recording. One position managing the high workload and resulting stress is untenable. And I agree. Much of my commentary could also be applied to the prior. Oh, that wasn't the only thing he was unhappy about. Much of the commentary could also be applied to the prior segment on episode 632 at JFK regarding the Air France pilot landing rollout and resulting Turkish go-around. I agree with your assessment that no pilot deviation likely occurred. Rather, general workloads and working conditions at that moment didn't help matters. I don't care how helpful a pilot thinks he or she is being or might be. I would think aircraft spacing on approach should be predicated on a foreign heavy intercontinental arrival using the entire 8,800-foot runway. In other words, the consecutive heavy international arrivals need a tad more spacing than, say, a couple of regional jets, which tend to be more nimble and are more likely piloted by folks who perform more arrivals departures more frequently. And I agree with all that, too. And that's something I think the controller probably should have factored in, and basically what he's talking about is this video that we played that an Air France guy asked if he could depart the runway 22 left at the very end. I think taxiway Zulu, is that right? Or something like that, or Quebec, at the very end of that runway, which is a little bit before where most jets kind of exit the runway on a high speed, I think Juliet. So they basically were kind of just giving a heads up to the controller, who was working several positions simultaneously, that they were going to be on the runway a little bit longer than normal. Yeah, I agree with John's his feeling about that. Okay, so he continues. Both of these incidents together warrant a deeper discussion than what you provided on your September 23rd podcast. Okay. Yeah. Well, then. Okay. Yeah. We can manage the number of news items we cover every week. We can also manage, the length of the show and all of that kind of stuff. And you're right. We probably could have gone into a deeper discussion than what we provided. But again, a lot of what we do here is in addition to trying to be informative and educational, we also try to be entertaining. And sometimes, that results in not lingering on too much about some of these things. I mean, we could probably take one of these news items on every show and make it the entire news segment if we wanted to. No, Liz is saying no in the background. She doesn't want us to do that. Anyway, but okay, point well taken. And he says, also, when are you going to add a controller or former controller to your on-air team? Yeah. So he says, keep up the good work. So John, as he said, he sent us feedback in the past. He is a former controller, and I think he is trying to put his name in the hat for that day if we ever decide to make that really, really uninformed decision to bring on an air traffic controller as opposed to a pilot. No, I'm just kidding, John. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we don't always get everything right on our show, but we try, and we're trying. Just ask anybody that's listened to us. Just ask Liz. We're very trying. I don't know. I know that really RJ and Captain Nick really can't say much. Now, it's too bad we didn't cover this when Dr. Stefan Camacho was on. But I think that was pretty fair criticism, constructive criticism, and I think that we can take some pointers from your feedback. But we do appreciate the fact that you felt it was compelling enough to take the time to send in this feedback, John, and that really is appreciated. We're not trying to make fun of what you thought we did wrong at all. Honestly, that's really you're as we say, you are the people listening to the show are at least half or more of this whole thing that we do together every week, and we do appreciate sometimes being called down or maybe led to consider some other options for the way we do things and cover things. So we do appreciate that. Okay. Well, you're the producer, so you can tell me what you think we should do. So number 16 it is. Okay, well, this is good because I think it's a very easy one, and so we're going to try to. We usually try to end with a light. Oh yeah, I thought you did too. Well, I can make it happen if you want. Yeah. I don't know. I bet Captain Nick probably deleted it or something.
I'm not sure why.
Well, we don't understand what you're thinking, Nick. I mean, we're not sure why either. So
I'm
let me.
Not sure why I'm here.
Well, again, we're not really sure. No, I'm just kidding. We know why you're here, and we know that you wouldn't do something like that. No, I got it right here. I'm almost there. Let's see if I can. Who wins? Okay.
Who cares who wins?
I care. Here we go, and boom, there we go. Now I just have to get back to Evernote. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. This is from Mazoots, our Coffee Fun Classic contributor for this show. And he says, looking for Captain Nick. I thought Captain Nick would be front and center. Couldn't see him anywhere. Mazoots.
No, I'm there.
Are you?
Just look
Where
for
are
the
you?
teacup. Yeah.
Was that you
right
behind
there.
there with the dark? Well,
Yeah,
what, did you dye your
teacup.
hair that day? And
No,
shave your...
You can't see much of me. Keep zooming in.
Oh,
Zoom,
I
zoom,
see.
zoom in.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can zoom it in. Oh, yeah, I should do that for the people that don't see this photo. This is the Royal Air Force Typhoon display team. It looks like a mobile display unit, and I'm zooming in a little bit. Did that zoom in for you all?
There you go. See the cup of
Okay,
tea?
and let's see if I can zoom it in even more.
On
That's
the right-hand edge by the door.
Right.
that's
yes.
me.
Can you see my cursor?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. There's Captain Nick holding the mug, a cup of tea. Okay, and pointing his finger at something to indicate that he's not happy with something. He's pointing his finger at something.
He's just basically saying whose fault it is. He's pointing. Yeah.
Because it wasn't me. It was that guy right there.
That guy. Yeah, that's it.
So where was this supposedly taken?
I don't know.
Right.
It's a display about the Typhoon, the FGR4.
It's got nice grass, so it's not in the Middle East.
I
guess it's Riyadh or something.
Looks someplace that's a little colder, a little chillier, because everybody seems to be wearing jackets.
Duxford. Oh, there you go. That's just down the road from me, really. Duxford.
Yeah.
Just the other side of London.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit upset you didn't come and say hello, Mrs. I could have made you a cup of tea.
Yeah. Well, you need to make yourself more presentable, available. Captain Nick.
Hey, I'm retired.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. All right.
Okay.
With that, we're going to we're going to end today's show by, as always, yay! We're ending the show. We're pointing you at and toward our website, airlinepilotguy.com. I wish it was apg.com. That would be nice and easy, but to find a 3-letter domain would be impossible or very expensive. So, oh well. Airlinepilotguy.com, where you'll find information about the crew and the community and the community calendar and merchandise and a page for the Plain Tales and the APG library and so much more. So head over to airlinepilotguy.com and check it out. And we're on social media, or what I like to call the social meds, and Captain Nick is going to tell us all about it.
Oh, of course, yes. Now, if you're a Facebook person, go facebook.com/Airline Pilot Guy, all one word. Remember that. On X, we're at APG Crew. Instagram, very similar. Instagram.com/APG Crew. And remember me saying, remember Airline Pilot Guy? Well, if you're on the YouTubes, youtube.com/Airline Pilot Guy.
Yes. Very, very well done. You're getting close to that Dr. Steph level.
No, that'll take some time. That would take a lot of time.
Well, is anybody in my bathroom? Why would you ask that? Oh, you know what? Come to think of it, there is somebody.
When you weren't looking.
Hello, can you tell us about Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
That's okay. Just make sure you put a towel on yourself before you come over here and get all, oh man, you're getting me all wet. All right. Tell us about Slack.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas. We suggest episode and Plain Tales topics. We plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com. Or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Thanks a lot, Hillel. What are you doing with the put the towel back? What? Don't snap. Ow. 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 Stop. Ow. Okay. That's not funny.
A few locker room antics.
Yeah.
Oh, look
Yeah.
who it is. Look who's here.
Oh,
Hi, Liz. That was great.
Look at that. We're going to thank our wonderful producer for doing all the work behind the scenes. And I mean, she does amazing work behind the scenes. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, as always.
Yes, and a special thanks to our guest performance, guest hosting by
May I
RJ.
point out that
Thank
RJ has got the fanciest looking microphone I have ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Got a light show going on. I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
right.
No, look at it.
I know, and I can't seem to figure out how to turn the light off. Supposedly you can.
You need to
But-
ask a pilot.
Yeah, maybe I should press the button no pilot should ever press.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no.
Probably the one.
Don't do that. I'm looking at my
trouble.
video now and noticing that the angle of the sun coming on me is like not very even. Oh well, it doesn't matter. It's an audio
Time to
podcast.
wrap up then.
Yeah, I guess it is time to wrap up. Yeah. So
It's a
thanks,
sunset on the show.
thanks, RJ. Hope you
Yes.
didn't. It wasn't too difficult for you to hang in there with us.
No, not at all. Thank you very much for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Good.
And
good.
love your dog.
Yeah.
Love your dog.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And we'd also like to thank our live audience. You should join them sometime if you happen to be doing nothing else. Join this crew that are very entertaining. And sometimes it's just a whole life of its own off on the sidebar for us, and we try not to get distracted by it. But they're also sometimes, very rarely, helpful to us as well. So check that out. And I guess, finally, I'd like to wish you all clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care, and God bless.
Challenge, Douglas.
Bye, guys.
See you next time.
All right.
Okay, woohoo!
Yay. We did it.
That was
Made it
great.
to the show.
Yeah.
I know that my audio that you say was kind of crappy, but
A little bit.
It's good now. It's improved.
okay.
And just
Interesting.
before we ended the show, you were having a little bit of video freezing, but nothing bad, but just a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
But-
Okay. Good. Good to know.
But all in all, really good.
Yeah, and your audio coming into me was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, so
Cool.
that worked out well for me and for my post editing. And so I'm glad that the Starlink, made it happen
Yeah.
for me. Yeah.
Really. Thanks,
Is there much tree cover where you are, or is it a clear
So
sky?
this campground is mostly filled with beautiful, big, giant, tall trees, but this particular site I picked because I went on Google Maps and I tried to find the sites that looked like it had a clear view of the northern sky, and this is one. And the one that I was on, site number 45, the last few days, was even better. I mean, it's just gorgeous. But most of the sites here, I'd say 95% or higher, have a lot of tree cover, a lot of canopy.
Why did you have to move? Did someone pinch your site from under you? You were gazumped or
I was
something?
explaining this to Liz before we started recording. So when I go and try to figure out where I'm going to stay and when and all that kind of stuff, I look at the online reservation sites, and they usually present it, the ones I prefer, the different sites and the calendar and kind of like columns for days, and they have like a color in the square or the field, the cell, I guess it's kind of like a spreadsheet, where it's either green, it's available, or red, not available, or yellow, which means I think that's like the day that you need to be leaving the site and somebody else is coming in that day. And so you look at these things, and I know that I need to be somewhere, on these dates. And then I look to see what sites are available on certain dates, and then I go on Google Maps and look at the satellite view and try to find ones that I can use the Starlink with. And there are some campgrounds that just you're not going to use Starlink. They're just all, and that's what most campers want. They want to be under the tree cover, right?
In the
It's
woods.
in the shade, in the woods, and that kind of thing. But not me. No, I'm the oddball. Yeah. So that's so sometimes there's not, like, I can stay up to 14 days out of 30 in this park, but it's almost impossible unless I book the thing a year in advance to find 14 days in a row at the same site.
Right.
So I have to go, okay, that site's available and I know that's a good site for Starlink, and that might be one of the days that we're recording. I'm going to choose that one. And then, but that site may have been reserved by somebody, like this one here, somebody over the weekend is going to be staying here. They probably booked that weeks ago or months ago. And so I just have to look to see what the leftovers are, basically.
So Jeff, when
that's-
you got out of town because Helene was coming up that way, do you know if did any trees come down in that campground or not? Did they
I don't
lose
know
anything?
for sure because I have not been back to Shady Grove, but if it's anything like this campground, which is just like not far from that other campground,
Right.
and I didn't see any trees
Oh,
down or
that's
anything.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
I
still
don't
think you did the right
probably
thing.
not. Yeah, I mean, because the initial track was supposed to be much further to the west, which would have meant that the worst part of the storm would have been right over Atlanta and right over this lake. And because it shifted more to the east,
Right.
anytime that, if you're a storm going northward or northeastward on the right side or that part of the storm is going to be the worst. And the other side is not so bad. So, yeah, so it worked out. But I'm glad that I heeded the calls from people that were concerned about me and got out of town just so I didn't have to worry about a big tree fall on top of me.
Okay, everybody. Nick, you've got a title you're going to work with. You're good.
Yeah, I always like a backup though.
Okay. Well, the only ones I have are Addicted and Confused, Flying Boat RV, Skid Marks and Klingons, which I think
That's
is the one you
I've got. Yeah.
and Good Luck, Air France.
Yes. Okay.
Watch out for those missiles. Good
Yeah,
luck.
Coach.
I think we did. I remember some show art once that was a RV in a boat hull.
Yes,
So
it was.
We've kind
That's
of
true.
done that.
Yeah, we have kind of
before.
done that. No.
But
I could
wouldn't hurt to do another one.
Copy that and stick some wings on it.
There you go.
There you go.
No,
That'd be easy.
The easiest one is going to be the one I'm doing, other than
Perfect.
Good Luck Air France. I think that
Yeah.
would be,
Cool.
that'd be Air France just diving through a whole world of missiles
Barrage
shooting
of-
around.
Okay.
Love it.
Excellent.
Thanks, everybody, for being in the chat. We'll see you next time.
Yes, thank
Hey,
you all.
cheers,
we love
everybody.
you.
Bye, guys.
Good to
See
see you.
ya. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Here we go.